And scene.
Yes. So, Star Wars wipe. I'm calling this Star Wars Accelerated. We're going to be giving a try to the new Fate Accelerated rules, recently funded and distributed through a Kickstarter, Evil Hack Games. The rules are available online. Pay what you want as a PDF, or $5 if you're going to purchase it outright. Fate is a narrative style game, and we're going to start with character creation, and hopefully we'll get through an entire session in one evening. Um, all right. So the setup is that you are being sent to locate and bring back to the field a Jedi general who has left the Battle of Kashyyyk. This is taking place during the Clone Wars, and he received a private communication, after which he disappeared, fled from the field. Nobody knows why. And you three are going to be the team that are assembled to locate him and bring him back, either convincing him to resume his post, her post, I should say, on the field, or to face whatever appropriate disciplinary action for desertion. So, first you have to decide what sort of characters are going to be appropriate to this scenario and decide who's going to play what. And I guess we'll start with Kevin, because I have absolutely no idea what he's going to say. Any particular character archetype in Star Wars that appeals to you? And yes, we can have a party of all Jedi if that's what we want.
Ooh, no. Actually, well, I was thinking, being a fan of the game, despite its flaws, Republic Commando, but a Republic Commando in a party of not Republic Commandos seems kind of odd, but I guess the
Well,
fun
they
would
did
be in
have
it.
elevated. They did have some elevated officers and such, and it could be that you were assigned for security.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, so
Something like that.
that would work. So
Like
we
a
have a clone warrior of sorts. Joe,
That's exactly what I was thinking too.
awesome.
No, that's cool. That'd be neat to have two Clone Warriors going in.
There we go. Then I guess Dustin, you're in charge.
Okay.
That limits your choices somewhat.
I don't know.
You don't have to play a Jedi. You could be like a bounty hunter sort of person.
No, I'll play a Jedi. I got no problem. I wasn't quite sure if Jedi would be appropriate with two non-Jedi there, but I'll play a Jedi.
All right. So now what we need to do is we need to fill in what your high concepts are. And your high concept is an aspect, which means it's going to be part of the mechanics of the game. But it's going to be one that describes who you are and what your place is in the game. So in Justin's case, he could simply say Jedi Knight, and for a short one-shot game, there's no need to get really detailed about these things. But if he wants to put a little flavor on that, he could certainly do so. And in your cases, as clone troopers, you're definitely going to want to do something that will help you. Well, maybe not. Maybe the point is that your high concepts are exactly the same. And then once you have those, we'll want to read them out loud, and then we're going to pick our trouble, which is the thing which is another aspect, but this is going to be one that constantly crosses our path, something that makes your life difficult on a, if not daily basis, pretty damn near to it. And then when everybody has their high concept, if you're going to glitz it up a little bit, we'll start with Dustin and work our way back. We'll just bounce back and forth like Kit.
See, my big problem is I'm not actually all that familiar with Star Wars beyond the 6 or so movies.
Perfect. I really have no understanding of the expanded universe outside of the movies.
I know there was a Clone War. I know it involved clones and robots.
Well, generally speaking, there is a succession of planets and economic power within the Republic, if you will. And it came at a time when the Republic was ill-suited to deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
And out of nowhere, there's this clone army that was supposedly being created for the secessionists, and it's appropriated by the Republic for their own ends. And the person who spearheads that effort, of course, is ultimately evil and will cause the downfall of so on.
Of course.
And all the clones are clones of Boba Fett's dad.
I remember that part. And isn't Boba Fett also a clone of Boba Fett's dad?
Yes. He was actually kind of like the price, I guess. He got a son out of it to raise his own.
Okay. I might just go with Jedi Knight for now.
Okay. We can always expand on it a little bit as we go if you want to add a story detail.
Okay.
Joe, you going to leave it at Clone Warrior? Or are you going to...
I was kind of thinking of a sniper. Like a specially trained clone warrior, like focus on being like a spotter and sniper type, as opposed to like a heavy or kind
that
of
works.
In some of the cartoons they do that specialized thing.
So
like
how does your high concept read then?
So I would say then sniper trained clone warrior.
Okay. And that's also going to play into any stunts that you have, but we'll get to that in a minute. All right, Kevin.
Well, I was actually going to go for the sneaky type, but since we already have a sniper.
Now, did I just snake yours?
Me and you today.
Man!
What is
I can
this?
go the heavy if you wanted to do the sniper. I don't mind.
No, I can go. I can always go like.
Well, there's always an infiltration specialist.
Yeah.
You know, every sniper needs a scout or a spotter, so you can be a team.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's put it this way: is your number one approach going to be sneaky, or?
I was gonna go careful.
Oh, okay. Well, I like the team idea. That works.
Mm-hmm.
So I could just do Clone Commando as mine, or Black Ops Clone Commando, whatever. Infiltration Commando.
That's cool.
That works.
I should pick one of those, right?
All right. So, since we're bouncing back and forth here, you guys can fill in your biggest approach, since you already know what it's going to be between the two of you. Approaches are kind of the replacement for skills for this particular implementation of Fate. So instead of saying that you're a good pilot or that you're a good shot with a gun, you can say that you're going to do this thing carefully, you're going to do it quickly. And the approach kind of has to match the sort of action that you want to do. I mean, you can put it together any way that you want, but if I don't feel it's appropriate, I may tweak things on my end in terms of difficulty. Or it could, the big problem here is how I flavor consequences. So if you succeed at a cost, your approach may inform my decisions on how I'm going to narrate those little failures or those little costs. So Kevin, being an infiltration specialist, what sort of trouble do you have that just constantly gets your goat, or what's constantly popping up that breaks your concentration or causes you a problem?
I was feeling something like, since I'm an infiltration guy, I'm sneaky, but I'm not necessarily careful. Like, I'm that sneaky guy that is just like, he's so obsessed with getting in and getting out as fast as he can. He's quick, but he's not necessarily careful. So maybe like not, I was gonna say, not too careful or not that careful.
You're
or
hasty.
Something like, yeah, hasty. That might work. One word. I like it.
You can
Although,
always.
is that really a trouble? Because that's like that seems like way too helpful.
Well, actually, it seems like an approach when you say it one word like that, but it could be like never waits for backup.
I like it.
Yeah, so maybe that causes you problems in the sense that your sniper buddy is never in position when you're ready to go, or you're kicking down the door before somebody else has the flashbang out.
Waits for bingo. Like never waits for
gung
backup.
ho.
Gung ho. Oh man, everybody's got so many good ones.
Well, you can choose if they still keep coming to you. Joe,
Yeah.
Got a bead on yours?
Yes. As a sniper, I am always getting ambushed in melee and am totally outclassed in hand-to-hand.
All right. So how do you convey that in aspect?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find a phrasing.
Not the face.
That was exactly what I was thinking, actually. I think I might have to go with it. It's too good. Not in the face.
Now, not the face may not be broad enough,
It might not.
so you may have to modify that a little bit.
Yeah.
But because we've discussed this as we do the character creation together, we all kind of understand what it's supposed to mean, and we can always tweak later.
Yeah.
Cooler heads should prevail. What's your trouble, man?
I kind of have an idea that, I mean, with someone who's hasty and someone who kind of has trouble in melee, I think the trouble should be like the Jedi Knight I'm playing probably doesn't listen to the Force about it, as well as he should. He's probably latched on too much to the Knight part more than the Jedi part. Like he'll make a show of the whole Jedi senses and things, but when it comes down to it, he's a little trigger happy on the lightsaber.
So you're the sort of character that really exalts in the physical aspects of what you're doing, and you pretty much are neglecting the spiritual end a little bit.
Not sure how I'd phrase that though.
A fighter, not a lover.
Oh, Joe, consider blind spot.
Oh, I like that.
Well, we can always come back and fill it in. We'll mull it over, and we'll see if we can come up with a phrase for Dustin here.
I'm sorry, I've got to be the one who's difficult.
No. Well, you figure that you're in charge. You're also the guy that's supposed to be, the cool, calm, and collected type. Except 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right?
Yeah.
So, just figuring out how to phrase that. We understand what's going to be, but figuring out how to say it is going to be the trick, and that's not necessarily you, because aspects can have wide-ranging effects on role-playing because it kind of has to fit the situation. So, it's all right not getting that. But while you're thinking on that, what do you think that your best approach is going to be then? You've got careful, clever, flashy, forceful, quick, or sneaky.
That one, probably either flashy or forceful.
All right.
That's cool.
And I would probably say flashy because you're showing off and, ooh, I can do this.
I'm the guy spinning his lightsaber inappropriately.
All right. So you can fill that in at +3. So whenever you do something flashy, your base effort is going to be 3. And then you roll the dice to add to that.
Okay.
And then after that, you'll have the opportunity to spend points to invoke aspects to make things better. You can fill in 2 more at +2, 2 more at +1, and the last skill gets +0.
Okay.
And I'm told that there is a propensity for people to just use their top 2 all the time, and that's totally cool. Because when you're choosing your approach, you are by default role-playing your character in some way. And I can use that against you. So you guys are working together as a team. Do you think it's likely that maybe you have been acting as a team for some time?
Why not? It makes it more
You're
interesting.
kind of like the go-to troubleshooters for certain situations?
Judging that our leader's the smack him in the face type, and I'm the gung-ho type, and he's the blind spot guy, I'd say we're definitely the rough and tumble go-to guys.
We're second tier.
Yeah, second.
The second stringers.
We're the B team.
Yeah.
You're the D team. D for damage. All right. So in that case, since you guys have all worked together before, can one of you think of a situation that might constitute a story or an adventure that you had before that kind of maybe brought you together or really cemented you as a team? And I don't need you to think of like the story, just like, the title.
Mm.
What would the title of that movie or that episode be?
Hmm.
I'm
Well, you
kind of
said
seeing like a sabotage operation.
Yeah, well, you said what we're doing now is is basically like not a rescue, or we're going
It's
after.
like a search and retrieve. You're trying to bring him back because you don't know where he went or why. You're tracking down a deserter.
So it could be that maybe that's like our thing, search and retrieve, or search and
Or search and rescue sort of
yeah,
thing.
but in a loud and messy kind of way.
All right.
Troubleshooting.
Heavy on the shooting.
Yeah.
And
All
then
right,
on the trouble.
So the idea here is that we can fill in at least one additional aspect related to that incident that brought you together or cemented you as the team that you are. So it could be an aspect that refers to a situation that happened in that story, or it could be an aspect that ties you more closely to one of the other people here in the unit. So somebody could do an aspect about that damn rookie, or you could do an aspect about the time that he pulled me out of the fire, or something like that. And it's not as broad as your trouble or your high concept, but it should be something that you can foresee maybe using or having used against you, good or bad, in the very near future.
What
And go ahead.
I was gonna say, do we all have names yet? Because if we're gonna be making aspects, names might be handy.
Okay, well, let's come up with names.
Let's see here.
Dustin's probably the only person with a proper name.
Yeah. I know there's a Star Wars name generator on the internet somewhere.
That was exactly what I was looking up.
I think I have one open somewhere. Or it's gone. Looks to be gone.
I was gonna say we're just a sequence of numbers and maybe a
Yeah.
call sign. So
I was just gonna go with Dent.
Oh, here we go.
that's cool.
Copy.
That's what I do. Put dents and things.
Why? There used to be a way to... There we go.
Like the least witty name ever.
Well, Dent would actually kind of work because even though you guys... Oh, there's a link in the side. Even though you guys are playing clone troopers with designations, since you have specialized purposes, and you've probably acted independently much more than other clone troopers would have. You would have developed a little bit more personality than they have. You would have developed more singular and unique features like a name or a nickname. But I'm drawing the line at Scratch and Dent.
Oh.
I was thinking long shot.
All right, that'll work. And you see, it doesn't have to be Star Wars-like.
Yeah.
Except maybe for the Jedi.
There we go.
That kind of
does-
doesn't get a pass.
How does
Yeah.
Cassis Drea sound?
All right, sure.
Cassis Dreas?
Yeah.
Cool.
There we go.
All right. So. All right. Distracted by the television.
That's why I'm outdoors.
Well, my power cord has a limited reach.
I was gonna do
Alright.
something like I know, or I count on Longshot, or I know Longshot has my back, or something to sort of explain my gung-ho-ness, maybe.
Longshot has my back. Perfectly valid. That might be exactly the reason why you keep busting down doors.
But maybe like I count on Longshot, or I believe he has my back, or something. Even maybe a little bit of
Or long shot always comes through in a clinch.
true. I like that one.
Always comes through for me in a clinch.
There we go.
Kevin, what was your character's name again?
Dent.
Dent.
Joe.
Man, I'm having a hard time coming up with one. I'm kind of the one I'm kind of leaning on is sort of the sort of a he points I shoot kind of thing. That's sort of the I follow orders kind of piece.
He
And I was
points, I
leaning-
shoot. Sounds good.
Yeah.
So something along the lines of that's not procedure or by the book. I do things by the book.
That's kind of what I'm trying to. But I wanted it to almost be like hinged off of the relationship. That it's like, what was your Jedi's name again?
Cassius. Reyes.
Cassis. Okay, I was gonna say something along the lines of it's like Cassis points and I shoot, or like something along those lines where I've sort of developed. It's insinuating not only the role of authority but also friendship almost, where it's like, I trust him kind of thing.
Maybe you trust him more than the guy who kicks down doors before you're in position.
That's
What are you trying to say here?
No, that's good. That's good.
it's all right. I got your back.
All right, that brings us back to Dustin.
Well, to make this a nice closed circle, what with me relying more on flash than anything else, and Dent relying more on kicking indoors than anything else,
Sneakily kicking indoors.
sneakily kicking indoors. I think something along the lines of, not I like his style, but see here, because let's see here. I always hate coming up with these sort of things.
Yeah, I'm trying to run through stuff. To run through
Yeah.
possible titles.
Would it help if we moved on and came back to it?
No, because we've done that twice for me, and I don't want to be the guy who ends up doing that. Like, I like Dent's style or something like that.
Yeah, sure. Why not? He could be a bad influence on you in that way.
Yeah.
Hey,
Or an awesome
Well,
influence.
That's kind of important because one of the something came up the other day, and I wish I remembered who the contributor was. On Twitter, somebody mentioned, well, what do you think about for Star Wars replacing approaches with approaches generated off the Jedi code? So compassion, do something compassionately and this and that. And I thought that's way too neutral. That's way too blah, sort of, because Jedi tend to inaction or passive action. So I think that as a dark side sort of flip thing, because it's supposed to be access to fast power, that you could get bonuses for replacing one of your. If you go and you do an approach and your skill is failing, that you can get a bonus to your result to maybe pull it out of the fire by replacing that approach with a dark side approach, such as doing something angrily or fearfully or along that line. And then the new approach has some teeth, and then you'd have to recover from that the same way you might recover from a condition. And that means that you're kind of stuck with that approach for a while. So if you're trying to do something sneakily and then it doesn't happen and you're just shy by a little bit and you're a force user, so you decide, well, I'm going to draw on the dark side for this, I'll replace sneakily with a dark side approach temporarily. And then you have to wait till you recover from that in order to do anything sneakily again. So it's short-term benefit, long-term impact, middle-term impact, but you it also gives you a role-playing hook as you go, and it's got a little bit of different flavor than the standard consequences of "oh, please, I'm trying not to die" consequence.
Hmm.
So we may delve into that. I don't know. It all depends on where Dustin takes his character. But as you guys run in and do your commando thing, it's something to think about. That option is there to tempt you. At this point, we have 3 aspects, which is pretty much the minimum for jumping into play, and I'm happy with that. You can have up to 5, although technically you could accumulate more. I really don't want to go above that point, and we can add those in as we play if something becomes a good running gag or just happens to be appropriate to the character if it suggests itself.
Oh, and for that, the name of that trouble that I was supposed to come up with, would something like more flash than substance be appropriate?
Sure. All sizzle, no steak kind of thing?
Yeah.
All sizzle, no steak sort of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. That would work.
I like that one a little better.
All right. So the last major component of a character sheet is going to be stunts. You get up to 3 for free. I only really want 1 for each of you before we get into the game. Stunts give you a bonus in a very narrow scope. The bonus is usually equal to, roughly, a +2, or it grants you permission to do something that normally you wouldn't be able to do, as suggested by your aspects. Excuse me. So, in Joe's case, for Longshot, I think that definitely he's going to want some sort of stunt that has to do with him shooting people when he uses his careful approach. And that would give him a bonus whenever he does the long-range shooting. Likewise, dealing with dense abilities, maybe he'll have something that makes him better when it comes to sneaking around or doing infiltration, or maybe it'll have something to do with planting explosives. I don't know if that's an aspect of your character that you'd like to explore, because right now he's just kind of beating down doors, but I don't know if he's got something that really lets him bring the thunder with him when he comes in.
Yeah, good point.
And in Dustin's case, maybe you want something that helps you grandstand a little bit, kind of build off of the idea of what your trouble is and what your relationship with other people are.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you get something special for rushing in the door and yelling, "Here I come to save the day," you could build something around that idea that you're coming in and whenever you do something flashily, but it's got to be a specific type of action. So the 4 actions that you generally have in Fate are, and I've got my Kickstarter bookmark that pretty much has the entire system on the back.
Things are pretty nice.
Overcome, which is to get past an obstacle. To create an advantage, which usually creates or discovers an aspect and gives you free invocations if it works. Attack, which is to harm another person or character. Or defend, which can work against creating advantage or against attacks.
Mm-hmm.
So the stunt format is generally, because I do something with this approach while using this type of action, I get this bonus to this action. So in Joe's example, because Longshot's a sniper, he could say that because I am a sniper, when I go to attack someone carefully at a long range or a long distance, I get a +2 to my check.
I actually have ideas for 2 already.
All right. Well, that's fine.
Is that
you can
okay?
fill in 2 if you want.
Okay.
The more you have to start with, the more you have to work with when we get into the game.
I was gonna say I like that explosives idea. I was gonna do like I get a +2 when I forcefully overcome when like planting explosives or using explosives. Is that too narrow or too broad or?
No, that works because it's kind of like that idea that there's no problem that can't be solved with the proper application of high explosives.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get, but forcefully may not be the right thing. Maybe carefully or because
True.
it's a high explosive. I don't know. You can make it work any way you want.
I was
I
gonna say
don't think it's
forceful.
inappropriate because forceful, you're looking for extra damage, you're looking to overcome. So yeah, forceful works.
Okay. And then my other one was, this one's a bit weird. Although I'm not really sure which approach to use. The idea was I get a +2 when I blankly create an advantage for long shot to use. Is that like, would that be, that's
No,
too,
no, that's well, because you're creating advantage, you would probably want to tie that to.
because like the idea is that I'm going, hey, do over here, I'm up here up front and I see this thing for you to
That sounds
do.
clever.
Clever?
Yeah,
That's
that
what I
sounds
thought.
clever. And
That's awesome too.
Thank you.
yeah, and you don't have to limit it to long shot. You could make that to a team member. So if you guys come up with a
Okay.
team name,
Hmm.
and then that'll work with everybody in the party. But it's not often that you're creating advantages for people in a clever way. I don't know, maybe you are, but being that kind of works at odds with your rushing in.
Yeah. Well, it's like
So
I'm,
maybe, yeah. So basically, it sounds like you're going to be doing either one or the other in a given situation, or one following the other, and usually that rushing in can be kind of disastrous. So that sounds good. That sounds real good.
Um,
Dustin?
I was thinking, because of the image in my mind of the guy who's constantly kind of like, if you watch the movies, the way they defend is kind of flashy anyway. I was thinking, just whenever I'm being particularly flashy with the thing, I can get +2 to defending against long range shots.
All right, that would work. Or you could just say incoming blaster fire in
Okay.
general. I think that's not too bad. Unless you have plans for long shot to be shooting at you.
I don't plan. I'm hoping it doesn't get into a case of lightsaber pong.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Do you also want to incorporate like one of the traditional, hey, I'm a Jedi and I can do this abilities? I know you said you're not too much in the spiritual stuff, but if there's something physical that you've seen a Jedi do that you think would be a good stunt?
Maybe that the Jedi like pushback kind of thing to knock people away.
All right, that works. So I would say that's probably a forceful application
Hmm.
approach. And how about this? When you use the force to attack somebody forcefully, a little redundancy there, but can't be helped. You also get to move them one zone.
That works.
So
That's awesome.
it won't increase your check, and it won't let you do any extra damage that in that sense. But it will let you move people around. So if they're in your zone, which is kind of like this nebulous, okay, we just kind of agree that it's going to take you an action to get from one place to another, then those are two zones. This will put people out of the way temporarily.
I may have to move. It's just started raining.
That's okay. This is actually going much faster than I thought it would be. Joe.
I've got the one. Because I am a sniper trained clone warrior, I get a +2 when I carefully attack from a distance.
All right.
And now I'm trying to think of the second one, and I kind of like the idea of working off the advantage piece. But I don't know if stacking off like something like because
What happens when there's an advantage created? If they succeed, they create or discover an aspect and they get a free invocation, which they can pass off to you.
yeah.
So that free invocation means that you can, let's say he spots somebody and he creates an advantage for you, which is to say located target or pointing out target or whatever. Helps you spot the guy because you get a very narrow field of vision in your scope and you wouldn't see him otherwise.
Yeah.
You get to use that invocation once for free. But the free invocations stack with the paid invocations.
Got
So
it.
you get to use that without spending a fate point. But if you wanted to, if it was critical, you could spend a fate point to use that same invocation a second time, which you normally wouldn't be able to do. It's just because paid ones don't stack, but free ones do.
Okay.
And that's also important because if someone succeeds with style, which is to say they get 3 or more over what they needed to succeed, then you get multiple free invocations, which can go to the same person or passed off to multiple people. So that can be used a couple of different ways.
I was thinking as a possible edit to my created advantage one, would it be, do you think it would be possible and or wise to say that the team member gets an additional +2 or like an additional free invocation or something? I know he just had that, so I don't really want to nab that idea, but because like giving myself a +2 to create it, I get that. I mean that works, but I just thought,
well, you're the spotter,
yeah,
so that might represent your extra training in being able to take in the field
that's true.
and be able to spot these advantages to begin with.
Yeah, I just didn't want to be giving myself all the
Be right back.
+2s.
Yeah, but it's a good thought, but I think it works better the other way because it's more
Yeah.
thematic.
Good point.
But what we could do is you could do a sort of stunt tree where we could say you get an additional stunt that's possibly not as powerful as any one stunt by itself, but because it builds off the one that you have, that could work. So you could create a third stunt that kind of emphasizes what you're already doing and just make it that much more potent.
Good point. Good idea. I'll think about that one.
Yeah,
Let's see if it comes up.
but I don't know if we need to get that detailed
No.
tonight.
No, that's what I said. I'll wait. I'll put that one off.
Yeah. And this also leaves you still an empty slot so that if you need to, we can create another stunt on the fly during the game.
Mm.
So everybody's got a high concept. Everybody's got trouble and an additional aspect. We also have our approaches down and our stunts. You should make a note that you each have a refresh of 3. And that means that you're each going to begin the adventure with 3 fate points that you could spend to invoke aspects. And what that does is, after you have made a check to see if you succeed or fail, if you feel that you have a bad roll and you want to re-roll, you can invoke an aspect that's appropriate to the situation by spending a fate point. And I'm just using handy these. And then you get to either re-roll that roll or just add a +2 to the result that you have. And you can invoke multiple aspects for multiple fate points if that's appropriate, and in order to stack those +2s. And like I said, if you have free invocations, they also can come into play. So you can actually get a very high bonus after the fact, depending on how you set something up. So it's perfectly legitimate to spend around building up a whole bunch of advantages and have one person clear them all out for a +4 or +6 to whatever it is that they're trying to do to get that really high success and stack on the consequences or the stress on your opponents. To aid a damaging attempt. The other thing about fate points that everybody needs to know, players and watchers alike, is that in order to recharge your fate points, you have to have your aspects compelled against you. So that's where the troubles come in, because that gives me a hook not only to create story around you guys as a player, I can do that with any aspects that you have, but because it's specifically designed to, this is going to get me in trouble a lot, so give me my fate points. And you can also compel each other. So if Joe thinks that this is a great time for, if Longshot thinks this is a great time for Dent to go off the reservation and leave him high and dry, he can compel that hasty aspect, or I never wait for backup aspect, on Dent, and Dent can choose to accept it, meaning he has to roleplay it, or he can choose not to accept it and then continue to act however it was that he intended to. But then he doesn't get the fate point that he needs to be awesome later on doing something else. You can also self-compel, which is to say that if there's a situation in which Cassis's, slightly awkward to pronounce, Cassis's Jedi senses would have been the perfect thing to avoid an ambush or just using empathy to better understand and communicate with somebody, and just instead totally does the flashy thing with physically intimidating or whatever, that could be a self-compel. And he could say, hey, Steve, I just did this when I should have done the other thing. You should give me my fate point now. And that works. So those are the 3 ways that you can get more fate points, and you don't and should not rely upon me to be on top of things in order to get them. You should be looking for ways to bring them on yourself, particularly if you're getting low. All right. So with that, character creation is done in just over half of an hour, and I was afraid that that was going to take longer.
That was not bad.
Silly me.
Not at all.
So
Look at
then,
us
if
being prepared.
yeah, and if we didn't start with a idea for a scenario in advance, creating characters could be creating the game as well, because by saying that I am a Jedi, you're saying that Jedi exists, the Force exists, and you bring in all the stuff that we understand to be Jedi or issues surrounding Jedi, and they're now part of the story. And it tells us something about the story. So, and your guys' choices for what sort of characters that you have picked are going to inform my choices and how I'm going to skew this idea that I had for a story in itself. So, for example, since you guys have that heavy Black Ops feel, you may have intercepted a copy of the message that the Jedi received before she disappeared from the field. Her name is Janice, Janace, for those who wish to take notes.
Wait, how do you spell that? Sorry.
Janace, and I'll just pop that in chat.
Oh. Guess it doesn't really
I
matter.
didn't bother with a second name. Oh, yes, I did.
Just as a little like addendum or thought, you said we like what if we intercepted it? Maybe we intercepted it and are like, hey, we should do this to try to prove that we're not the crap backup guys type
We're
thing.
not the D squad.
Yeah, because they
We
said,
have a light touch. Really, we do.
maybe they actually sent someone else, and we're like, hey, we can do that.
That
There
should
you
have
go.
totally been our job.
Exactly.
It really
Damn it if
fit.
we're not going to prove it.
That's going to be an aspect for the game now.
Something to prove.
That something to prove, or actually, I'm going to go with that. Totally should have been our job.
I like.
Totally should have been our job.
I feel like that's probably how we get all our jobs.
So
What were you people
guys,
doing there? Good job. But what were you people doing there?
So you guys have kind of gone off the reservation. You have a certain amount of latitude to begin with, but this totally was not assigned to you. But you decided those guys are wusses, or they're going to be inadequate in some way. We really should have been the ones to come in on this. So maybe instead of in addition to having just been maybe in addition to having intercepted the message, you have also you're just kind of shadowing the other team and letting them do the heavy lifting, except stuff just keeps happening around you that makes it difficult to continue in that vein, or you actually get in their way, or something like that. How does that grab you?
I dig.
Sounds good. I like it.
All right. Well then, I guess since this totally isn't your job, the first problem that you're going to have is transportation. How are you going to follow these guys off planet? This is Kashyyyk, so you're on the Wookiee homeworld. The war the Secessionist War is raging here. This is like one of the major front lines of battle. So that's kind of underscores the whole issue with Janice taking off the way that she did. And that she just left a whole score of soldiers high and dry without a leader and without that connection with the chain of command. So you've got a score transport or something that you can use to follow this other team off-world, and we're going to call this other team the A team, and we'll expand on that as we go. What sort of options do you guys have available for off-world transport?
Well, they have a ship.
They have a ship. If we're on the front lines, in theory, there's a transport somewhere out there, either probably for our side or for the secessionist side.
I like that.
If we have to steal a ship, we're going to get in a lot less trouble if we steal one of theirs.
I like the way you think.
I'm like,
All
okay,
right.
guys, I don't think that's gonna be easy.
It's parked out front. How difficult could it possibly be to steal a secessionist troop transport?
It's normally designed to transport robots.
Listen, we'll blow the doors off, we'll squeeze in, we'll ride it to wherever it is those guys are going. It can't be that hard. As long as there are doors blowing off something.
Look, we need a hyperdrive, and we need it to be airtight.
All right. So there are troop transports aplenty that can fly and maybe even achieve interstellar flight, or rather, I should say, suborbital flight. But capturing one shouldn't be difficult to find one because they're bringing fresh troops to the front line all the time. So staking out a spot where they're more likely to receive deliveries is not a problem. In fact, you may have been given a mission to maybe take out one of these resupply points or recon one of these resupply points so that you already have an idea as to where you can go, and it's going to look totally normal because this is your job.
Mm-hmm.
I like that.
That works.
So then we just have to scope out a location where we know that a transport's coming in, eliminate the receiving force, and then when it lands, either jump on board and eliminate all the targets on, or lure them out and just, fly off with the ship.
Like I said, no problem at all.
No problem at all. We'll figure out how to drive it later.
None of us took pilot as an aspect. It's going to be interesting.
Jedis are always kind of trained in pilot stuff, right? That's a thing that Jedis do.
I may have skipped that class that day, but I can probably hum a few bars and fake it.
And if it
I
involves
have a
blowing
bad
things up,
feeling about this.
Point to Joe. No, it always seemed to me that piloting is kind of like the driving of Star Wars. Everybody knows how to pilot something.
Mhm.
It's just that if you're going to race something or if you're going to dogfight in something, you're probably going to want to have aspects or stunts to back that up because otherwise you're going to get torn apart by somebody else who does have them.
Mhm.
True. It's probably point and click.
Right. So for something like this, I don't think that you have any trouble whatsoever. But this is Steve taking a quick look at how bad guys look. And there we go. I can probably just riff off of one of these examples right in here. So, you approach the resupply point from a high hill. And there's a lot of heavy, dense vegetation in Kashyyyk, and of course one of the features is basically Endor, but with Wookiees. But in this case,
better qualities.
so in this case, you actually get an overlook where you're not just like shooting down from the trees, but you actually have high ground in a more literal sense, where you can perhaps also in a literal sense get the drop on somebody.
Ooh.
So what I need to know here is how are you guys setting yourselves up? What sort of things are you looking for in order to perhaps create advantages that will allow you to take over this transport as it comes in?
Well, it's Kashyyyk. Let's see here. I assume that the secessionists have probably cleared a landing zone, so they're not trying to maneuver through trees.
That would be correct.
Okay. How
They,
about?
they've,
Oh, go ahead.
in fact, they've cut down some branches so that you see a very definite corridor through the canopy
Mm-hmm.
that comes on a very specific approach.
Okay. Is there any kind of like supply? I want to say shed, but I don't think that's a Star Wars appropriate term.
Bunker.
Some supply storage depot building, like
Well,
nearby, or.
wood is very plentiful here,
Mm-hmm.
and they've used some of those massive tree limbs that they've cut down to rough out a bunker on the ground that they can use to quarter troops or to house supplies. And the bunker has been crudely enhanced, but with blast plating on the sides,
Okay.
so that it can withstand at least a certain level of ass kicking.
How does this sound to the commandos? I scout out a nearby tree. We wait for a transport to land, and as it's landing, I quickly lightsaber through that tree to bring it down on top of that supply depot to cause some confusion.
Not bad. And we just dart in.
Then someone darts in, and someone perhaps provides some cover fire or something like that.
Yeah.
That's the
And
thing I do.
I was about to say, I could, since sneakily and advantages is my thing,
Mm-hmm.
I could sneak down and be like, put the tree here, and any sort of like, what's the droid presence in the area? Is it heavy, or is it just like they're just getting here type little area thing?
Well, at this point, it's not just droids, although they are pretty heavy. This is a command center sort of situation, so even though it's a resupply point, not command center exactly, but being a resupply point, it is not entirely droid driven.
Mm-hmm.
Droid supplies security, droids can do labor, but they are not themselves the people, the beings in command of how things go here. They're always being directed by somebody who's not a droid.
So that's the guy we shoot in the head.
All
Got
right, so we're talking about a distraction. We're
Mhm.
talking about two distractions actually. We're talking about creating a distraction by dropping something on the bunker. We're also talking about creating a distraction by cutting off the command structure.
Yes.
And
Like
we're
that.
talking about somebody, so definitely Longshot's going to be shooting from a distance because that's what he does best. But it looks like Dent is actually going to be in the thick of things on the ground, so maybe he's the guy who has to go in and actually pilot that ship out.
And then we'll bring
And
it in
that
somewhere else.
leaves Cassis as his backup.
Yeah.
Does this sound like a plan to everyone?
I like this plan. This is a good plan.
Hey, any plan thrown together in less than a minute, I'm good with.
All right.
Don't worry, everyone. I'm pretty sure the Force is strong with us.
I'm glad you're so sure,
I'm fairly certain.
because the rest of us have no clue.
All right. I got an idea here.
Meanwhile, we're just like, right.
Okay. So the perch where you're at is pretty good for Longshot. So he's going to not go anywhere. He's got a commanding view of pretty much anything that he can hit by aiming straight down or slightly up. You guys, however, have to get down the cliff face somehow, and that's going to be an obstacle. So there should be some sort of check, I assume, for you guys getting down, depending upon how it is that you choose to overcome this particular obstacle. Maybe you have equipment because you're soldiers in an infiltration team. Maybe you actually confiscated some sort of land speeder that'll give you some mobility to get out here.
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you.
How far is it? Is it possible to hoof it?
It is possible to climb down, and I would allow that in a single check. However, you could be exposed unless,
You're sneaky.
or you create some sort of advantage. And creating an advantage is not necessarily using what's already there. You can, for example, pay a plot point to declare a detail, a aspect of the scene, and then if everybody likes it, then I can accept that plot point. I'm thinking Marvel again. I can accept that fate point, and then that thing is true. It is an aspect on the scene that can be used to enhance rolls and for whatever. So you could say, well, there's this cleft in the face that I think we can climb down in, and nobody will see it.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was gonna say rock outcropping, but I like cleft better. I like that.
All right. Give me just a second here because I want to double check that. That's also the domain of creating an advantage.
Maybe it would be like a clever thing, like I noticed it over there, you know.
If you're creating a new aspect or discovering an existing one. No, this would actually be a check. All right. So yeah, let's say that because this is the purview of Den to see things and recommend them. Name your approach. By default, the difficulty of overcoming an obstacle or creating an advantage is going to be fair, which is a 2.
I'm gonna go with clever because that would be like sort of, or would that work?
Yeah, that would work.
That's what I thought.
You're being clever in spotting it or recognizing its potential.
Yep. Would that work for my stunt, or since I'm also going to be using it, it wouldn't?
I don't think that this is. You're looking for a way down,
Yeah,
so
that's
I don't
okay.
think that you're actually going to be passing off the advantage here so much. The point here is that you're trying to just see that it's there. You're granting permission for something that you wouldn't have permission for.
Yeah, no,
Already.
I was just double checking, make sure I wasn't missing anything.
No, that's great.
Okie doke. Well, I don't have
Alright.
anything to roll with because my
Alright.
local gaming store isn't
That's
very
fine.
friendly.
I have dice. Would you like the white dice or the black dice?
I'm the sneaky one. Let's go with the black dice.
Okay. So I have 3 neutral and 1 negative.
Ah,
What is the rating for your approach?
+1.
Alright, so that would have been a 0. So that's absolutely a failure unless
Maybe a droid scout or like a scouting group sees us.
how about it is actually guarded. It's your best approach
Hey, there we
down,
go.
but because people can't see into it from a distance, they actually placed a guard at the cleft.
I dig. I like that.
And this is totally fate because it's failure is not always failure. It's you succeed, but and here it's a fairly substantial cost because it's guarded. So not only do you have to work your way down without being seen, but now you know that your best approach is guarded, and how are you going to handle that? And from what you can tell, there are 2 droids down there, and they're fairly mobile. They're like floating droids.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no.
So they're basically they're not very heavy on firepower, but they are very good at seeing things, and they're very good at booking it.
Hmm.
Well, this sounds like somebody else's purview of expertise.
Sounds like it's guarded. Well, he just said it was guarded. Sounds like, It sounds like I'm being redundant. Two droids, they're floaty, they're fast.
Well,
I was gonna say, if you want to calm back and point them out to me, I could try and, blow them out of the sky to clear your space. Or, if Cassis wants to go after and maybe, do that Jedi thing.
If you want to try to take the shot, that might be a better deal, because looking at my character, sneaky is the least good thing I'm good at, so...
That's my best. So maybe we could sort of get them from both ends.
All right.
If I were to go down there and intentionally be a distraction for those two guards, it would give you two a chance to try to take them out.
I'm worried they would just, instead of being distracted, they would just sort of go, bye. But flashy, since you are quite flashy, maybe they'd be a bit sort of, ooh, Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? Maybe they're ditzy droids.
You have seen Star Wars, right?
Yeah, I know, right? That's true. Maybe I'm giving them a little bit too much credit. Hey, is that a Jedi over there? Why, yes, I think it is. Maybe we should do something. Oh. Yeah. So
I can see it now. It's the Force-enabled version of the Three Stooges.
Wait, you said they're floaty, right?
Yes.
How far of a drop is this from where the top of the climbing bit?
I
I'm
like where you're
considering
going with this.
I'm considering the cliff face to be a zone of its own. So the cliff face is a zone, the top is a zone, the ground is a zone. So you're moving through two zones to get to the safety of the ground.
What I really want to know is, can I jump on one?
Yes.
While he shoots one.
That would be awesome.
You can safely climb part of the way down and then attempt to jump on it. Yes.
Okay, so I would be sneakily climbing and then somethingly jumping.
Well,
It's reckless in approach.
I don't think that there's anything to be gained by making you roll for the climb. So just getting into position for the jump would be perfectly fine.
Okay. I like that.
All right. So who wants to take the first action? Because you haven't initiated a combat yet, normally it would go in rating of who has the best quickness and going down from there. But because you guys have total command of the situation for the moment, you get to choose how you're going to place your opening shot.
Well, the distraction sounds like a good first thing. If we are going with that, like if that was a thing.
All right.
Do you want me to run down there, distract them, then you jump on one and he shoots the other?
I like it. All three of us are involved. That's what I like.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Normally, someone with a more level head than me would probably try to sneak or climb or something like that, but I'm a Jedi, and I can do those cool, awesome Jedi, kung fu flip things. So, I am going to just kind of jump into that next zone.
Okay. So
I'm going to be about... I'm trying to distract them, so I'm going to try to be as flashy as I can.
all right. A flashy descent is certainly going to bring you some dire consequences if this does not go well. But it's your best approach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a very difficult climb, so the default is still going to be a 2.
Yeah.
So your flashy is what, +3?
Yep.
Would that
Okay.
be, are you like just going down there, or are you like creating a distraction?
I'm gonna
Like creating an advantage, I mean like distraction so that
I'm gonna try to distraction them. I might
He's meant to be seen.
Yeah, I'm meant to be seen. So the way I'd probably describe it is some kind of like Jedi wall run down the cliff face.
Yeah, you're basically doing this whole D&D psionics slow fall, but kind of running on the wall sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that totally works. So roll your overcome action.
That is 1+.
Hey, you're already doing better than the last time.
hey.
That is the first plus I've ever seen in these dice. I thought they didn't have them.
All right, so your total, if I recall correctly, is going to be a 4.
Mm-hmm.
So you have 2 shifts. That's not enough to succeed with style.
Mm-hmm.
However, you have accomplished your goal, and that is no mean thing. They see you. They're like, "What the hell is that?" As he goes running down the wall, all like, some motherfucker's always trying to ice skate uphill.
Yeah.
And just to get Guillermo out of my head for another day. Okay, so I guess the next is who's shooting or jumping?
Do you wanna jump or should I fire?
I'll jump. At least that way, if one of them gets away, or if they get away, I'll be on one.
True. And I have range, so he can scoot a little.
All right.
Exactly.
So Joe, you're gonna take your shot. Is that what I heard? All right.
I think jump is going first.
Yeah, I'll
Okay,
jump.
Jump first.
Would that be? See, I'm a little. Would the approach be? Am I trying to do this quickly? I think we've thrown sneakily out the window.
Yeah.
We have.
Well, they still
But-
don't know you're there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I was like, I'm being sneaky, but then again, I'm also trying to be quick. So
Well, I think you don't want to lose your advantage here, so you probably want to move as quickly as you can.
good point.
On the other hand, you don't want to miss either. So maybe careful. Whichever your better approach is, and then that's
Careful
just
is not my better approach.
Well, then I guess it's Geronimo.
Quickly it is. Okay.
All right. So your intention on jumping on this thing, are you attacking it to deal damage, or are you trying to create an advantage somehow by doing this?
No, I think I'm just trying to attack this one, to put it down. I'm gonna stab it with my. I have a knife. I have a knife. Can I
Oh,
say
of
I have
course
a
you
knife?
do. You're a trooper.
Yeah.
It's a
Standard
vibro
issue
blade.
Vibro
'Cause-
blade.
I think
'Cause
Clone
it's Star
Commandos have
Wars.
one in their wrist thingy, so
That model knife?
I'm gonna stab it with my punchy knife.
All right, go ahead.
That's awesome.
That's the proper term.
All right, so you're going to attack it. You're going to jump down on top of it, and if this works, it will also slow your descent.
Okay, that's good. That's.
That's just a bonus. That's
Wait, do I get a bonus for my trouble in this one?
Well, if you had decided to go ahead of the Jedi,
Oh, yep. Never mind.
despite having a plan,
Yeah. Oh, it's just, oh man. Oh well. Ooh, but, hey, wait. I have this I count on long shot aspect, and I am sort of counting. Of course, I'm not counting on him to save me. Oh, let's just roll it.
okay. So take your attack action.
Okay.
You decided this was going to be quickly.
Yes.
All right, and then oh yes, I'm going to roll the dice. 1 positive and 3 negatives.
Oh,
The Force is not with you.
No, it definitely is not.
So
I'm gonna-
you
Looks like I'm the curly of this group.
maybe. What was the strength of your approach?
+2.
It is now a 0. So you can. You
is
have
this where you
failed.
could spend a feint point to add a +2?
Yes, this is a good spot for that. So if you have an aspect that you feel is particularly relevant, you can spend a fate point to either re-roll or add a +2.
Well, I've got I count on long shot, but I'm not really sure because I'm counting on him to shoot the other one, but that doesn't really help me in the jumping bit.
Yeah, I don't see where that comes in here.
I've
You
got
got Black Ops Clone
yeah.
Wars.
Say I've got clone. I'm my high concept that I finally decided on exactly was clone commando infiltrator, but
This is the sort of thing that's your bread and butter.
yeah, I was about
So
to say
that
this
would make
seems
a
like
good invocation.
this seems like the thing that I do basically for breakfast and dinner.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I'm gonna spend one of my fate points and add a 2 because that's all. Wait, is this? Would a 2 be like a success? Is this like an obstacle, or is this like some sort of I have to?
Well, a two would be a tie, and a tie, the attack doesn't harm the target, but you get a boost, and a boost is a very transitory aspect. We don't even necessarily have to name it, but it could be something like you knock it off balance, or something
Or
like that,
I'm on its
where
back.
you didn't.
Yeah.
Could be, but there's a very transitory aspect on the scene that somebody gets to invoke once for free, and then it's gone.
Okay. Let's do that. I like that. Adds a bit to the
So
narrative. It's no fun to
yeah,
just jump on it and kill it, right?
You got to
So-
ride it.
Yeah, exactly. Because that's the scene we all want to see. Is it speeding away with me on its back?
all right. So you fail, but you get a boost. And in this case, we're going to say narratively, instead of using it as a boost, something very transitory, you're going to say you're hanging on to it,
Yeah, yeah,
but you haven't actually damaged it, and you haven't made it safely to the ground either.
yeah. Somewhere
That
in
sort of
Okay.
thing happens all over the prequels. That's perfect.
yeah, I'm in falling purgatory right now.
All right. So, Joe.
Okay.
You have a shot?
Lining up my shot through my scoped rifle, preparing to fire on the one. As I see him launch into the air, I line up the shot and go ahead and blast at the other droid, trying to take it out. And so I'm doing this carefully, balancing that, which is at a +3, and I'm shooting from a distance, so my stunt comes into effect, so I'm at a +5.
Ooh.
All right.
And I got a net of a +1, so I have a 6.
Okay. Well, 6 over the static 2 defense is going to be enough to hit it. You've got 4 shifts. You not only hit it, but you hit it with style.
Yeah.
So, instead of dealing 4 shifts worth of damage, you may reduce the damage by 1 to generate a boost. So if you want to deal 3 points of damage instead, and then create something very transitory and ephemeral that will give you, or somebody else, a very one-time bonus.
How about we call it? All right, let's do ricochet.
All right.
Pull that back and have basically a piece of this droid goes pew and fires off, and it like collides with the other droid,
All right.
kind of like giving Dent a little bit of a it's also a little tilty, kind of taken aback by the exploding parts.
Gives me a
All
chance to get on top instead of hanging off the side.
Okay, so exactly, we will roll with that. So your shot is enough to pretty much explode the reconnaissance droid. It's not made to take a lot of impact. It's relying on its stealthiness and its quickness to avoid getting hit. You took it totally by surprise.
Yeah.
Bam, gone. So a piece of shrapnel hits the other droid and damages it in some way that's only temporary. It's going to recover, but somebody gets a shot to take advantage of this first. And now we're going to compare quicknesses. So,
Oh boy.
it has a quickness of 2. Does anybody have a quickness of more than 2? All right. So, this thing is suddenly bobbing and weaving wildly, and Dent is there hanging on for his life. And his heels bang against the cliff face, and you feel the immediacy of the rough stone behind you. How are you going to take advantage of this situation? Can you take advantage of this situation?
I would think so. Oh, let's see, because I've got this, or I've got the. Well, was that thing that he did? Would that be like a boost that I could use right now?
Yes. Use it or lose it.
Okay. We'll just say it's off balance or something, and I'm definitely going to. Ooh, me being quick again. It's a good thing I put this at a 2. While I've got the sort of like little window, I'm gonna go in for the stab kill again to try to bring it down. Or wait, how am I? Would that hurt on the way down?
It's still one zone of difference, and you would take, let us say, 2 shifts of damage for the fall.
Okay.
So what that could be is you have 3 stress boxes.
Yeah.
One is worth 1 shift, one is worth 2 shifts, and one is worth 3. But you also have 4 different consequences that you can take, whereas instead of taking shifts of damage, you can take a negative aspect representing your injury onto yourself to reduce those shifts down. In this case, by saying it's 2 shifts worth of damage to drop, you could actually totally take it up on a minor consequence, which could go away within the scene. You'd have it for the scene, but at the end of the scene it would go away.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. That sounds good. Instead of trying to come up with some wacky way just to get around that, falling down is much more fun. Yeah,
Alright.
I'm just gonna go in for and just try to like use its sort of off balance and surprisedness to get in position and get in a hit on it. Well, I guess I'm dangling off it, so I'm gonna pull myself up sort of and try to like just stab it till it falls.
Alright, so make your attack action, and that's going to be, you don't have to use quick for this.
That's that's true. What else would you say? Because I've got forceful at a +2. I guess stabbing it repeatedly could be considered forceful.
Yep,
But-
that works.
Yeah. So yeah, sure. Let's just forcefully bash this thing and stab it. Oh, come on! What is that look?
We're spreading around Dustin's karma and pain from the previous session that he had.
No, we're not spreading around. I've got it all.
1 neutral, 1 positive, and 2 negative. However, you can evoke the boost.
Oh yeah.
True.
So,
Oh.
what
I've
was your
also-
forceful rating?
2. My forceful's 2.
So the dice make it a 1, and then forceful make it a 3. Sorry, the boost makes it a 3. Unless you want to re-roll for a shot at something better.
So I'd end up with a 3.
Right. Actually, I'm going to roll its defense at the same time,
Oh.
and it's actually really bad at defending this way. It's not designed for hand-to-hand combat, so it's going to have a how do they do? It's going to be no bonus at all for what's going on,
Yeah.
and it gets also a -1. So you don't actually have to spend that transient boost if you don't want to,
Mm-hmm.
because your 1 is better than -1, and that's certainly a success. But you're only going to deal 2 shifts worth of damage, which you don't know if that's going to be enough. If you take
Yeah,
the boost, that
let's
jumps
say-
to 4.
The boost is gone after I defeat it. If I defeat it this time, or I might as well use it.
Well, if you take the boost, then you succeed with style, because you succeed by 3 or more.
And I can
And
save
when you
myself
succeed
somehow.
with style on an attack, you can deal the full damage, or you can reduce it by 1 to generate another boost, which maybe somebody else can use, or you can use in safely getting to the ground.
That's what I was thinking.
Alright.
I like that one. Let's do that.
As we know from Joe, 3 is enough to take out one of these things, and then you get your boost. So what is it, and how does it help you?
Okay, tell me if this is too over the top. I'm gonna say, as I'm stabbing it, it's sort of losing its control, and is this thing, was it like a sphere, like a just a floating sort of humanoid type robot, or
It's kind of a
droid?
disc sphere sort of thing,
Mhm.
kind of like a football, but a little flatter on the edges.
And bigger?
Yes, it's about the size of about the size of your laptop, maybe a little bit bigger, let's say. But it's sturdy, so because it's got a repulsor platform. It's light. It's basically a camera with a microprocessor and just enough intelligence to know to how to report and what to look for.
Can I surf on it?
Yeah, you could.
That's excellent.
And I'm gonna stab it until it loses control, and then ride it as best I can, and as safely as I can, to the ground. And
I think we found our Legolas of the group.
Ooh, does that mean I get to do a flip too?
Why not? All right. Yeah. Sure.
Tuck
Okay.
and roll.
That works. So the first stage of the plan is complete. You've got you guys at the ground. You pretty much know where you're going, what you're going to do. I need 30 seconds to run and get myself some more water because I'm doing a hell of a lot of talking, and I'll be right back. After these messages will be...
I'm going to turn my fan up. Tell me if this gets too loud. I can't reach it. That's okay. So I think that went well.
That went very well.
That went very well.
I think that was, if you wanted to show someone everything Fate Accelerated does, I think we just covered just about everything except consequences and stuff.
And milestones. That's the other one.
Oh, yeah. Well,
And don't worry, I had an idea on how to catch you, just in case that failed.
Yay.
thank you. Oh, I know. You got my back. Or I count on long shot, but I know you're there, too.
I did like that all of our aspects reflected to another person. Like we kind of had like a circle.
I was if that didn't happen, I was definitely gonna change mine to make sure that happened.
Yeah.
All right, back in 20 seconds. Was that long enough for you to screw up my game?
Yep.
We'll find out.
Totally ruined.
All
the
right.
audience knows.
Yes, they do. All right. So you guys are going in two separate directions, Dent and Cassis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how do we want to do this first? Do you want to... We have an order to things here, so we know that Cassis is going to attempt to identify the leader and point him out so that Dent is going to identify a leader so Longshot can be signaled and take out the command. But we also know that you're going to create a distraction by dropping a tree on the bunker and possibly taking out whoever's quartered in there at the same time.
I think the optimal order of operation should probably be something to the effect of ship puts down, or something to the effect of Dent identifies leader, ship puts down, door starts to open, I drop tree, shot fired, hilarity ensues.
Sounds like we've got our pattern down.
All right.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Hey, wait a minute.
All right. So, the ship comes in on its approach. It doesn't take long after you get... They have constant supply of things coming in. The ship is definitely... This one is definitely a supply ship. It came down either from another place. It's enclosed. It's not a warship in the sense of we're going to deploy people and shoot for cover at the time that they're jumping off. So it's definitely an enclosed vehicle.
That's one of the two things we were looking for.
Yes, it is.
Enclosed or vehicle, which one?
Airtight, I think, is what I said.
That's right.
Air full is the third one we haven't quite identified yet.
You take what you can get.
Hey, I'm sure
All right.
our clone armor's airtight or something, right?
Yeah.
You do have a certain amount of resistance against elements, but they're not vacuum proof. You'd get a few more precious seconds over other people, and then that's about it.
Good to know.
Don't want that.
I'm glad it came up now.
All right, so we were going to start with dropping the tree.
I believe we were going to start with a shot in the dark and then the tree.
Ah, okay.
The pointing, the shooting, the treeing.
Yes.
Point, shoot, tree. Got it. All right.
Sounds like a motto to me.
Okay, so how is it that you guys think that you're going to want to go about identifying who the leader is around here or taking out the chain of command?
Well, you said they're going to be non-droid, so no matter how many droids, that's going to stand out. But is there some sort of... Does there seem to be...
Like a rank insignia?
Yeah, or any sort of like direction where droids seem to be coming and going from especially a lot, so we can just at least look over there and go, oh, there's things.
once you're down in the thick of it, it's easier to spot. Or actually, you probably could have done so with binoculars or some similar equipment from a distance. I mean, sniper team.
Good point.
But it's what you notice is that a lot of the people who are giving the orders and doing things seem to be going in and out of the bunker with some regularity, as if perhaps they are receiving their instructions or they're reporting to someone inside.
Well, I think since we're going to be dropping a tree on the bunker, it would be a good idea to, if possible, maybe find a leader type person, maybe like walking away from the bunker or standing away from it, and shoot him, and everyone goes, "Oh, over there," and then they go, and then the tree comes down. So they're not looking at the tree, and so the Jedi isn't right in the middle of it all. As funny as that may be.
So, with me still kind of guiding things a little bit here, why don't you try to create an advantage that is identifying the target?
I like it. That would be, hey, this sounds like one of my stunts.
It does.
Cleverly creating an advantage for team members.
So, that's clever. And clever is what bonus?
Clever, I have a +1, and I get a +2 from my stunt.
All right. So +1 is average. +2 makes it a good effort. And then the dice make it an additional +2.
Ooh.
Yay!
The luck is turning. Now let's see who gets the bad luck this go around, because apparently it won't
Not
be
it.
me.
All right.
It's gonna be me.
So that's 5 against a static overcome of 2. And that gives you 3, which is, I believe, success with style.
Hey, I like it.
Double free invoke.
Succeed with added
That
benefit.
is exactly it. You get a double evocation. So you can pass them both to Longshot, or you can keep one for yourself. You can pass one off to anybody.
Well, one of them's going in a long shot, obviously. The question is there...
The question is there another way that this could be used to someone's advantage that it makes sense not to pass them both a long shot?
Yeah, exactly. Like, is there any way... I don't think I'm going to need to use it unless I get in trouble, and maybe I could grab said target for a hostage. Is there any way Cassius?
Nothing I can think of right now for myself, but could he use one to make the shot better and another to keep people from realizing immediately where that shot came from?
Well, part of that, I think, would also be his approach.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wanted to use a sneaky approach, perhaps he could disguise where the shot came from. Careful can also make a argument for that, but I think that there should be a limit to the amount of spin you try and put on an action. So either he is trying to use his stunt to deal the extra damage, or he should be trying to conceal his shot, or he could do both and just up the difficulty of the shot.
Well, if you're gonna try to conceal it, if you are going to do that, I could just give you both of the free invokes to sort of counter the fact that you won't be using your best thing and your stunt.
Yeah.
If that's what you're gonna do. Otherwise, I don't.
And that's totally legit.
I don't think I need to keep one. You know.
I mean, with the distraction, I think it might be good to do that, to hide it.
Yeah.
I'm not the most sneaky.
That way they look at the guy you shot instead of going, get him.
Yeah.
So, Joe, the ball's in your court.
Okay. All right, using the information relayed to me from Dent, I line up the shot on the target, the main commander-looking person who I think is the most in charge. And I basically plan the shot so that it is going to ricochet off of something else and blast through, giving them the like it's going to basically make it look like it came from a different direction. The way I'm going to ricochet it off a piece of equipment.
I hear a stunt forming.
Because that's how
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah, that sounds like a stunt forming here.
This is
think
2
it is a
times in
stunt
a row
forming.
now. Let's see if we can get a 3.
I'm feeling ricochet. It's working good.
Maybe
so
we should change your name.
Yeah. So right now, my sneaky is a +1. Using the double invocation, I'm at a 5.
Okay.
Nice.
Now those are double free invocations. You could
Yes.
still pay a plot point, a fate point, to invoke it normally and gain an additional +2.
I'm gonna wait and see what the dice do, and then I'll. Can I do that? Do I need to do it now, or can I wait?
No, you can wait and see what the dice do.
Sweet.
All the fate points come afterwards. All the invocations come afterwards.
Okay, be good. Be good, dice.
Man, you may not even need them.
I got a net +1 again, which brings my total to a +6.
Nice.
Do I really?
Well,
Really
let's
wanna-
take a second here and consider
Yeah.
how difficult the shot actually should be, because I didn't really set that up for you yet, and that makes sense. So I'm thinking that for every zone between you and the target should increase the default difficulty by 1.
That makes sense.
So since he doesn't know the shot's coming and you've got all the time in the world, I'm going to give him a default defense of 2 instead of rolling for a defense because he's not active yet. It's kind of like the flat-footed.
Yeah.
In my mind. We know that it was 3 zones from you to the ground. You're in zone 1, 2 for the cliff face, 3 for the ground. Let's say another zone to get to the encampment and another one to get in it. Don't count yours, so maybe it is a 6 just to hit him.
So I just pulled that off.
You just pull that off. Actually, I think a tie. Here we go here on an attack. A tie doesn't harm the target, but you gain a boost. So what you could do is, you're at long range, but this is a sniper. This is what you do.
Mhm.
So it makes sense if you want to invoke your high concept, because
Yeah.
your skill and what you do is what makes this possible. Likewise, it makes sense to spend a fate point to invoke your spotter pointing out the target. That aspect that he put on to the scene.
So I could spend 2.
You could.
Ooh.
So the first one would make sure that it actually hits and deal 2 shifts of damage.
Mm-hmm.
The second one would make sure that you succeed with style, so you're doing 4 shifts of damage or 3 in a boost.
Okay.
What was
I'm
your...
going to spend those 2, which is going to bring my total to 10,
Wow.
which is beyond legendary.
Yes.
It
I'm
is.
very excited about.
So says the bookmark.
Yeah.
Does someone hear that shot? Pew 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 pew.
Exactly. All of the droids are dead.
Yeah, he didn't say what he ricocheted off of.
Well played. Well played. They have really shiny exteriors. It made for great mirror shots. So I'm going to crank that up to a 10, which is succeeding with style, and I think I'm going to, because I had a 4. So it'd be 4 shifts. Let's
Yes.
reduce.
So now it's 3 and a boost.
Let's reduce that and add a boost.
Okay. 3 will be enough to take out most mooks, most non-name characters. 3 would be more than enough.
Hooray! I shot a dude.
What sort of boost are you creating here by shooting the dude?
What I think I want to do is,
It's going to be something really temporary that could only be used once, and then the advantage is gone.
Okay, I'm gonna call it drawn attention. And now that the blast has gone off, because I'm picturing this guy's like in the bunker area, and so now that the shot is ricocheted in, now all the droids are looking at it, and like they're like moving in to inspect this. And now we go to the Jedi. Timber!
By the way, I'm just hoping against hope that that guy you just shot, his name is Roger. Roger?
Wait a second. Is this a callback to a certain DM that you keep mentioning on your podcast?
No, that guy's name was Wally, and he was a douche.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I should know better. All right. So all eyes are on Roger.
Roger.
Well, that's happening.
I get it.
Yeah.
I'm
I
sorry.
didn't. I'm a bad DM.
It's right.
Roger.
Roger.
How many assholes do we have on this ship?
You know,
I just watched that movie today.
Poignant.
so should be a simple, straightforward manner of cutting this tree down. I could probably be rather forceful with it.
Yeah, I'd say at this point it doesn't matter if they notice you're there once the tree's on top of them.
Yeah. So,
I love it.
So you're trying to bring down the tree on top of the bunker, if I recall correctly.
correct.
So I don't think that cutting down the tree is actually going to be the role. I think the role is how much damage does the tree do to the bunker,
Okay.
which is much more significantly with health than anything else is.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that there's a question as to whether you're going to hit it or not unless you fail the roll. So set up your approach and tell me what you're going to use here.
Okay. Hitting that tree, making sure. Quick question: is there a generator between like the if you line them up, tree, bunker? Is there anything in between that might add a little oomph to the tree coming down on it?
There is a generator on top of the bunker for security purposes, so it's harder to approach.
Yeah,
Unless you're a tree.
unless you're a tree.
Unless you're a tree. And it's just providing local power, so it's not like in Return of the Jedi where it's like powering a big force field or anything like that. You'll also take out their communications dish, which is nearby, probably.
That's a good thing that we hadn't thought of.
Take out the. Let's see if I can bring that. Let's see if I can bring that thing down with enough force to take out the power for their communications as well.
All right. So you're going to whittle.
Yeah. Okay, that's 3 on those dice. Yes, my little I'm not being screwed by the fate dice dance.
Yay. You get a 2 from me.
Yeah, 2 from there. And I was doing that forcefully, so that's 2 on that. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus whatever kind of difficulty that had to be assigned to that.
Well, it's a very big target.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think that I think it's easy enough to cut a tree so it falls where you want it to.
Mm-hmm.
However, it has a pretty good defense because it's made from the same wood and it's also been reinforced with blast shielding.
Sure.
So I'm going to give it an active defense
Okay.
of great, because that's something that you shouldn't be able to just carve through, but you're dropping a tree on it. If you want to, well, first let me roll, and then we'll get into the other ways that you can make that work. It has an entirely neutral result. 1 positive, 1 negative, and 2 neutrals.
Looks like we found out who got the bad luck.
Well, I think I've rolled these dice quite a bit just for no reason, and it seems like fate dice really do trend towards neutral and plus or minus 1.
In theory, they trend towards 0. It's a very flat distribution. In practice, I hate it.
So what was your total again? 6, 8?
It's 7.
7.
Because forceful for me is 2, I got one neutral and 3 pluses, and then long shot gave me a 2 from the bonus.
Okay.
Everyone going, hey, look at the monkey.
So that's 3. You have succeeded with style, so you can deal 3 points of stress to the bunker and the things that are on it, or you can deal 2 points and create a boost. But boosts are tricky.
Boosts are tricky. Let's go,
Well, if you don't bring the bunker down...
I'm flashy. Go big or go home. Let's go for the 3.
Okay. So, the bunker does not cave in entirely, but everything on top of it is toast. So you've pretty much killed their power, you killed their communications, and you've turned over the hornet's nest where everything inside knows that there's something going on. Even if they didn't know about the assassination, they heard this huge crash, and all the lights went dark, and all their instruments went dark, and all the droids in the compound just went...
Oh, whew, okay. I was like, hornet's nest.
And
I was worried for a second.
With that, you hear Dent, you on the ground as I point at the screen and nobody can see. Woo! You hear the transport cycling up already.
Uh-oh.
Sounds like it's time for some gung-ho-ness.
Maybe we should have waited for them to take the keys out of the ignition first. Let's put that on the list for next time.
Yeah, we might have been a little too quick. Although I gotta say, for the D team, we haven't done anything terribly wrong so far.
You know, it's not like you're the extraction team in Predator, let's say.
Yeah.
Actually, they were pretty competent.
They were just way outclassed.
Yeah, exactly. We're not exactly them.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right.
2 movie references in 10 minutes, and neither of them were Star Wars movies.
Even better. All right. So, you hear this thing cycling up. The door is still open because they had somebody looking out and they were getting ready to do the transfer of goods, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. So, clock's ticking.
Can I get to the door? Is my first question.
You can race to the door.
I can race.
This will be an opposed check. How's that sound?
That sounds interesting, which is great.
Unless you could think of another way to handle this.
Well, I think being as gung-ho as I am, see what I did there? My first instinct would be to go, doors closing, must go, without sort of going, who can help type, what should I do type thing.
All right.
Even if I am diving into a transport full of enemies.
Okay. Well, that works, and I would count that as a compel against your gung-ho nature because you're certainly going to be running through a zone full of people who have no idea what's going on, and then all of a sudden a complete stranger streaks through their compound.
I like it.
So, this is a compel, so you get a fate point.
Yay!
And
Back to 3.
that's going to make your life more difficult because they're going to lay down cover fire as you streak across the compound to try and race and dive into this vehicle.
Ouch.
This is going to be an active opposition. They're actually fairly good at shooting. They're going to get a +2 to their roll. You pretty much have to roll high to avoid getting shot. And if you manage that, I'll say as a bonus that you're also fast enough to get inside the ship before it closes up because your quickness is +3?
Quickness is 2.
2.
It's my second best.
All right, roll good.
Just a question.
Actually, I'm rolling for you, so I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, once
You
again,
roll
you're
good.
the black dice. I'm rolling the white dice for your opposition. You're both at a +2. This is a dead heat. Another movie reference that we shall not go further into. Dustin there is concentrating.
Thank you. May the force be with me.
All right.
No, that doesn't sound good.
Are you ready for this?
It's thoroughly
No.
neutral.
Both sides have 2 negatives.
Totally
However,
neutral. Man, we both suck.
you have 2 positives while they have 2 neutrals. They're -2 while you're +0.
Yay!
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 So that is straight out, running across, dive in just as the door closes behind you, and what do you see, Mr. Gung Ho? How did this go badly for you?
I'm gonna say, while not necessarily, are these transports? Are they just like droids giving droids more stuff, or are they like off-world things, sort of bringing them stuff?
This is off-world things bringing them stuff, and it's not more troops. It's munitions, supplies for the people who do have to eat and need medicine, repair materials. It's a general supply drop.
Okay. Who? I'm a little fuzzy on some Star Wars stuff. Besides droids, who is a part of the? Because basically, I just want to run into not just droids, but basically like here's
Those
guys.
weird frog guys from episode 1.
Oh yeah,
The one
right.
with the really racist character voices.
Yeah, those were good guys though.
Are they?
Well,
Were they?
let's.
No, not the Gungans. The ones that are attacking Gungan planet.
Oh, the Nemoidians.
Yeah. Well,
Trade
I've got
Federation.
I've got a slightly different spin on this for you.
Okay.
Dipping into the very little bit of Star Wars lore I know outside of the movies, is there is a race of I shouldn't say a race of slavers. There's a race that's well known in Star Wars for enslaving and selling off Wookiees, the Transdoshans.
Trandoshans, yeah.
Right. They
Oh,
basically look like the
no.
Gorn from Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Bosk.
the Gorn.
Bosk was the name of the stiff-armed lizard guy that they had in Empire Strikes Back as a
Bounty hunter.
bounty hunter, right? So they're providing some support because they're not frontline fighters for this sort of thing, but they're providing some support to the invading forces because it's in their best interest to do so.
That works. And coincidentally enough, a main villain of the video game, Republic Commando. So.
Oh yeah, I remember they
Sold
went
in stores everywhere approximately 10 years ago.
Hey, I liked it. I liked it enough
I-
for it to inspire my
I
character.
did I did too. No, I'm with you.
Oh, good. A little
It just sounds like product placement. It's funny.
Yeah. Sequel is not coming out soon. Yeah.
No.
If it was, it would be. Anyway.
So, yeah, no, that absolutely works. So we know that you're up against a physically intimidating opponent. These guys have pretty good on predator instincts. They're also pretty good in physical brawl. They've got claws and teeth. They know how to use them. And there's 2 of them. One's the pilot, and the other one's the co-pilot.
2 of them. Fun. Okay. Is the spotlight still on me, or are we going to pass it off while I...
Well, we can pass it
Supposedly.
off if you need a minute. If anybody else has an idea of what they would like to do, let's ask Longshot here what he's doing on his perch as he watches all of this unfold.
Well, I see Dent go running into the ship, and as the door closes, I'm watching this all through my scope, and I can see droids just firing back and forth. I'm like, oh, crap.
Well, the droids are shut down, so it's the human element, if you will,
Yeah.
that's providing all of the fire now. The forces have been reduced significantly, so you've maybe got 20 people running around with pistols and rifles trying to prevent him from getting in there.
Okay. Then what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to try and draw attention from the human element, all the remaining separatists. That's it, separatists, and
Yes.
I'm going to try and fire on them so that I can set up Cassis to go after and try and help with the shuttle. Because if they're looking at me, they might leave the Jedi alone, and I'm up on the hill.
All right.
So
So
I'm
it
going to
sounds
try
like
and
you're
do
laying
this.
down an obstacle.
Yeah.
All right.
And so for that, I'm going to be trying to be as blatant about my position as possible. And just basically, I'm going to take, like, not even using my scope, just firing blindly down into the crowd, trying to draw their attention.
All right.
So this is thoroughly flashy, which is terrible. But yeah, it's not going to be particularly effective because of the limits of my scope. So I'm like I'm reaching for a compel, but I don't think it's worth. I don't think I've activated it yet.
What was your trouble again?
That it's blind spot. It's basically that I'm good at range, not so much
Right.
up front. So
Maybe you could go running in and shooting, but
we
Don't
could
get
stretch
shot.
blind spot to have other meanings if we wanted to.
Mhm.
So, like in this case, we meant that it would be easy for someone to sneak up on you because you have a blind spot. Maybe
Yeah.
you're too focused or whatever. So maybe here also a blind spot could be a hole in your offensive.
Mhm.
If you were to make the check, but we know that there's an aspect there saying an opening.
Mhm.
You're leaving an opening even though you're doing this. You succeed at your action. We know that this thing is happening, so narratively we have to react to it. But at the same time, there is an opening. So
Got it.
if the group wants to spend a fate point to try and use the opening to get through your distraction, your overcome. I'm sorry, your
Trouble.
yes,
Obstacle?
obstacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain just shut down for a moment there. Then I think that would be appropriate. That would work.
Okay. Cool. Then so I'm going to try and be really flashy about this and see if it's helpful. I have no idea if it's going to work. Oh, good gravy. So that is going to be a net 0.
Okay. And what was your flashy again? Was that 0?
Well, my
Or
net
1?
on the dice was a -1. I have a +1 in flashy, so my total is a 0.
Okay, that opening was probably a little bit bigger than we thought.
No.
Nobody feels threatened with these long-range pot shots that just seem to come out from your position. You've identified where you're shooting from very easily. That part you
Yeah.
did just fine. But you don't seem to be making anyone nervous with by raining death from above. It's more like a warm summer shower.
Oh, good.
Is Cassius doing anything? Or Cassis? Because I keep thinking he's Muhammad Ali.
I like dense style. I'm gonna run towards the.
hey, I see what you did there.
I'm gonna run towards that thing, lightsaber drawn. If anybody shoots at me, I should be able to deflect it.
Okay.
And the door's probably closed at this point, but I should be able to grab onto the outside of the thing.
That works. All right.
Let's see here.
So
Uh-huh.
they're going to be shooting at you again. So what's your quickness?
My quickness is 2.
All right. We'll make this exactly the same thing, but if you fail, well, we'll worry about it then.
Okay.
Okay. So they're shooting at you, and they're pretty fair at it.
0 on the dice, 2 from quickness.
And they are 2 minus 1 is a 1. But they can. You're not the first person to come running across. So they're going to spend. I'm going to say that they're ready for you.
Mm-hmm.
Or ready for trouble, I should say. And call that an aspect that they can spend a plot point on.
Sure.
Does that sound fair? So
Sounds
they
more than
become
fair.
a 3. So they win, but they're only dealing 1 shift of damage towards you because of your running. Check. And if you wanted to spend a plot point, a fate point, in order to invoke something or to otherwise enhance your action there,
Mm-hmm.
you could do that.
Let's go ahead and do that. As a matter of fact, I have that aspect called I like dense style. So I will
Okay.
spend a fate point to try to increase that.
All right, done. Oh, I should remind you, any fate points that you earn from compels, you
Mm-hmm.
cannot use in this scene. Set them aside. You getting them towards the next scene.
Got it.
Okie doke.
All right. So you got what you have going in. Okay. So you make it. You grab hold of the outside,
Mm-hmm.
and the thing starts to lift off. And from the inside, and we're gonna come back here to Dent and refocus. Den, you scramble to your feet as the first Transdoshan comes to face you. The other one's piloting and taking off before anything bad can happen, and he's too late because you can see the distinctive Jedi robe with an arm in it flapping around on the outside of the blast of the windshield, looking for purchase. As the Transdoshan co-pilot comes in against you and gets ready to tear you to shreds with his bear claws. This is going to be opposed. He's going to attack you. I think you both have the same quickness,
Mm-hmm. 2.
but I'll consider you to be at a disadvantage because you had to kind of like dive in.
Yeah. It makes
So he
sense.
saw you
given
coming
my
and he's ready
trouble.
for you.
I got a compel, so that makes sense.
He's going to forcefully attack you with his claws, and he gets a bonus because his stunt is he's really good at just like rending things with his claws. It's a predator culture; they really like that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he's going to get +2 for being forceful, +2 for using his claws. His default is a 4. How are you going to choose to defend against that great attack against you?
Well,
before the roll?
I can't sneakily defend against it, or could I? No. That'd
Well,
be
it depends. How would you narrate that?
Um. Hmm. I want to say like maybe trying to use some sort of like environmental type thing that he didn't see coming.
Kick over a box of bean paste.
Yeah, to just sort of like get my hand on something while I'm laying on the ground, and then at the last minute just sort of like try to like bat his hands out of the way or throw something at him, or
Well,
just hold
when I
something
think
up.
sneaky, I think maybe misdirection. So if you were trying to deflect his blow so it damages something else, that might be a play.
Yeah,
If you want to just use something else to block, that might be clever
no,
or quick if you're dodging behind cover sort of thing.
yeah. Well, I'm not that good at clever. I'm better at sneaky. So let's. I feel like I'm trying to stretch this one too far, though.
Well, also, you're not necessarily going to create an advantage with this. So
Oh yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much anything that you're going to... Oh, wait a second. Maybe you can. Um,
Well, if I
yeah,
defend
if
with
you
style.
succeed with style, your opponent doesn't get what they want, and you get a boost. So... But that a boost is very transient, so it's
Yeah.
only whatever you describe as your boost can only be good for one action, and then after that it doesn't make sense anymore.
Could I try to trick him into like getting his claws stuck into some sort of pipe or
That
something?
works.
Yeah.
The place is full of crates, so that works very well. So your sneaky's +3?
Yes.
You have a neutral, he has a -2, so he's down to 2, and you are at 3. So you at least manage not to get hit,
Yeah. We'll
but
say
you don't get the boost.
his claws clang off whatever I was trying to.
A convenient box of steam.
Mm-hmm. So now you get to react. I'm
Okay.
giving it to you before Dustin because if you, depending on what you choose, you may or may not be a help to him.
Yeah. I'm just gonna try to. I don't want to affect the pilot at all, even though it would be nice to sort of shove him into him. But I'm in the thing he's driving, so I feel like affecting the driver might not be the wisest choice.
Look, by this point, it's only 20 feet off the ground. You'll be fine.
That's true. I like the way you think. Yeah, sure. Let's go with that then. Let's sort of. Can I like forcefully shove him into the pilot?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
So you kind of like roll back on your shoulders and kick your legs out and give him a good kick to the gut.
Sounds good to me. I like it.
All right. So he's going to defend, but he's not. He's got a neutral defense, so he's going to start at 0.
Okay.
You, however, you said forceful. What's your forceful approach?
+2.
Okay. So you got a leg up on him.
Literally.
It's a plus on the
Truth.
floor. It counts. 2 neutral results, so you have him by 2.
Yay.
You shove him backwards, and he stumbles into the other pilot. I would say you're creating an advantage of a sort rather than dealing damage. You're, what sort of advantage are you creating?
Well, since what's going to happen is the ship's going to get all sort of wonky, and since I'm prepared for it because I know what I'm doing, and they're not, we'll say that I think I know what I'm doing. That's what I like to pretend. They're off balance.
Okay. Well, pretty much everybody except you is off balance. Therefore, when it comes to Cassius's turn,
I think I just found a new aspect. Maybe
I think you have.
or maybe that was gung ho. No, never mind. I'll work on that. Continue. Sorry.
No,
Let's
that's fine.
see here. Everything all right?
Oh yeah, the wife's watching the Count of Monte Cristo, and I'm watching Cyclops getting his butt whooped in a sword fight.
That is a fantastic movie.
It is.
Haven't seen it.
Let's see here. Okay.
Wait, Guy Pearce's son?
His son in the movie.
Oh, his son in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love Guy Pearce.
I'm informed the kid who plays Guy Pearce's son in the Count of Monte Cristo is Henry Cavill and plays Superman in the latest movie.
What?
Yeah. He's also
Wow.
in...
Riz,
There he is. Yeah, you're right.
I know I'm right.
Oh wow, he's aged really well.
He's Superman.
That's because he's immortal, didn't you know?
Yes, I watched Smallville.
Also, he was in a movie called Immortals.
Ooh,
Boom.
Henry Cavill
go.
was.
Yeah.
Tie-in, link up there.
have we given you enough time, Dustin?
Yeah, no, I'm good. Let's see here. Okay, so the ship's basically trying to toss me right now. Let's see.
Well, you can try and do something directly to counter that to improve your position, or you can try to do something else and risk me spending a plot point, fate point to make it more difficult because of this.
I'm gonna see if I can do this, and I may end up having to spend a fate point to do it. But I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna try to use the force on the controls to open the door. Use my momentum as the ship is basically tossing me to grab the open door.
Sounds like
Okay.
you're pulling an Obi-Wan.
So yeah, so you're going to create an advantage, which is the open door,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to do that with which approach?
Sounds flashy, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
All right, let's do flashy.
All right. I am going
Badass
to.
is not an approach.
I think
But
that's a
it
quote
could
for the
be.
night. That's
We
a quote
can
right
make up our
there.
own approaches if we wanted to.
True.
I'm going to definitely
Write
tell
that
you
down.
up front that I'm going to spend the plot point to compel the off balance. It's going to make it hard for you to concentrate on this.
Sure.
So you get that plot fate point for the next scene.
That was one pencil.
Can you have more fate points in your refresh?
Yes, temporarily.
Okay.
At the point where refresh matters, that you would reset your fate points, then you would lose or gain up to your refresh value.
Do you lose them really?
Um, I would have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that you would.
Okay.
You
So if
can't
you had,
just bank them forever.
yeah, but it has to be a logical stopping spot. So it's
Yeah.
not like just after the scene. It's not like D&D where you lose your temporary action points
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
quickly. They're more permanent than that. But you can't carry them over like from scenario to scenario.
No,
So.
definitely not. No, that.
Ready?
Yes, I am. Um,
Sweet. I got +3 on those dice.
Yep, that's good enough. All right.
+3, really? Wow, nice.
He's learning not to hate the dice.
This is literally the opposite of the first time I played Fate.
Stop jinxing it. Stop it.
3, I'm flashy 3, and let's spend a fate point to, let's see here.
I gave you a static. I'm not rolling against you, so you only have to beat a 4.
Okay.
But if you succeed with style, you'll land inside this round.
Let's do that. What can I spend that?
So you need a total of 7 or better.
What have you got for aspects? You've got Jedi.
Got Jedi Knight, all sizzle, no steak, like dense style.
Hmm.
Can I just compel Jedi Knight? Because that's
Yeah.
kind of.
Using the
You're
Force.
doing the badass sort of impossible things that a Jedi does.
Let's do that and spend that fate point
All right.
and land in
So-
the door.
You land in the doorway. And there you go. So the Transoceans have the pilot hasn't taken his action yet, which really he should have, but there was nothing for him to react to. He was just taking off. At this point, he's fighting to regain control of the ship after having been pushed off balance. Excuse me. So he's going to make a quick check. And he regains. Does he? Hold on. Let's overcome.
Is there any way, like right now, while he's doing his action, that we could make use of that advantage, or would that only be like as an addition to one of our actions, since it's not actually a defense? We're not like actively.
He's trying to overcome an obstacle.
Mm-hmm.
The obstacle is the ship being unsteady. So there's really no option here. Fate doesn't really give you an interrupt sort of thing
Yeah.
with the basic actions. And normally I would say a Jedi usually has these really quick, awesome reflexes that he could do something like that, except that Cassius just put all of this effort into doing this already badass Jedi thing.
I was just trying to see if there's any way that we could like compel or invoke the fact that he's off balance and trying to regain balance, but I guess.
Oh,
not.
absolutely.
Oh, is it?
I think so. I think that's legitimate.
Would that be like me spending, like if I'm the one who says it, would that be me spending a fate point or giving him a fate
Yes.
point? No.
Well, you're not compelling his aspect. You're compelling a scene aspect.
Yeah.
So, or invoking a scene aspect to increase the difficulty of what's already there.
I believe that's actually on the bookmark.
It may be. So,
Oh yeah, so it says here that
so
it would be
it's
compelling.
definitely an invocation.
It's like you have blank aspect and you are in blank. Oh wait, no, never mind. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So it's not compelling a situation aspect, but it's invoking a situation aspect to increase the opposition.
Okay, so should I just spend my fate point?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
All right. So his +2 becomes a +4, and all of a sudden he is no longer making it. So this ship is still out of control, and now we're going to bring back around to his buddy, the co-pilot, who's going to renew his attack against you. Except you're still on the floor, and a Jedi walked in. So he's going to grab a rifle off that's hanging on the side of the interior, and he's going to try and shoot you first because he's got you dead to rights.
Just curious, would I have gotten a free invoke on that since I made it? Do I get one when I make it, or is that a part of a boost?
Um. Oh, we did say that that was going to be a boost. That was going to be a transient thing. So no sooner did you invoke it than it went away.
True.
But we will. Let's say that it's just out of control for one more round, and when his round comes around, he'll have automatically regained it. So it's not like lost.
Okay.
It wasn't like, you know,
Yeah.
worthless.
Sorry to slow the game down. I was just.
Oh no, that's fine. So this guy has you dead to rights, and he's going to try and shoot you where you lay. That is an active defense on your part, so you can roll whatever you think is appropriate. You don't even have to tell me, unless you get a boost, and then we'll worry about what's being fancy.
Okay.
This guy's not too good at shooting things. This is usually mostly for self-defense, and he's a melee guy. So he's got a +0 to hit you, and he's at -1. So he has done a poor job of it.
I'm going to quickly dive out of the way of his shooting.
All right, you got it.
At this point, my only
Roll
suggestion is do not take cover behind the box of grenades.
No, definitely not. I'm gonna actually. I guess I'll dive away from him. That sounds like a good idea, so I can shoot
All
him
right.
later.
Well, pretty much the only places to go are up front into the co-pilot's area,
Mm-hmm.
in back behind a crate, or out the door.
Well, let's go behind a crate and hope it's
Full of
another one.
grenades.
I hope it's one full of food or something.
Droids don't eat food. Shh.
Quiet.
It's full of robot snacks.
Yeah, there we go. Protein bar, or not protein.
Oil cans.
Oil. There, oil cans. I don't know why I went with
Oil
protein.
can! Oil can!
So, do you need to roll for me, or is that like a passive
Oh,
thing?
yes, I do. I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Which approach were you using?
Quick. So I get a +2.
And you have a neutral result, so that is +2 on your end. So you succeed with style because they have -1.
Ooh, nice.
You may create a boost again if you wish.
Okay.
And
The box is full of grenades.
Yeah.
I pull
I
one
would-
out.
I would do that, but we're a very small ship. It's
Yeah.
full of
So-
it's full of very small grenades.
so maybe the crate is providing you with cover, which is a free invocation.
Yeah.
Once. Then he sidesteps it and shoots you like a...
Yeah. Well, can I
Fish in
declare?
a barrel.
Well, I guess I can't like declare that. That would just be like a scene aspect. Would that just be a scene aspect? There are boxes to hide behind, or
Well, it could be treated that way, but it all depends on how we're going to treat it. So let's say you have boxes to hide behind. So the whole purpose why you dove behind it. You
'Cause
could
that would-
have, if you wanted to, said that they were an obvious scene aspect that you didn't need discovering and just spend a fate point to increase your roll, but it wasn't
Yeah.
necessary.
hmm
So we've established that cover kind of exists, but
So
it's free invocation of cover.
Oh yeah.
is the- So you get that one free invocation, and then it goes away. And then anything beyond that, and you're going to want to spend a plot point again.
Yeah.
Fate point. You all know what I mean by now.
Okay.
So,
I like that. That works.
yeah. And then if you wanted to, you could actually use a create advantage on the cover that you know already exists to create additional free invocations.
hmm
My wife is having fun.
It's
I
not the
invoke the
internet,
cat.
it's cats.
That's the lazy side of the force.
I invoke the cat.
All right.
I
So
like that. We got 2 quotes for the night already.
the Transocean tries to shoot you. He had you dead to rights, but you roll behind the crates and he misses, and he's getting kind of pissed off. But now it's your turn to retaliate, followed by the Jedi.
Okay.
Can I shoot stuff?
The door
yes,
is open.
that's right. The door
The
is
door's open.
I have a very, very careful sniper shot that I am dying to make right now.
Yes.
Do it. Well, it would be your turn because we've all gone.
This
Right.
is the perfect. This is the perfect time to do a sniper shot.
I want to fire a shot at the Trandoshan with the gun into the ship.
Was the open door an advantage that was created, or was that like a?
It was an advantage. It was he placed an aspect on the scene, which was an open door. There is a free invocation for that out there, but I think in this case it pretty much just gives you permission to shoot somebody inside as opposed to acting as a cover.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what the heck? You're already dealing with a fantastic shot, was it? A +6 before we started talking about it being off balance.
Oh, is it still off balance? That's
Yes,
right.
it is.
Oh,
Until
no.
the pilot's next turn. So this is going to be an epic shot.
Oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm that epic.
When
Do I dare? Of course I dare. Okay, so I'm gonna really carefully try and line up the shot and firing between my two allies. I'm going to try and take out one of the Trandoshans on the ship. This is gonna be
Well,
awesome.
what you can do is, because the ship is unsteady, you could use create an advantage, which is you're going to place an aspect on him of aiming
Oh.
or in my sights. So you could do that this round, expecting that metagaming a little bit. Next round, they're going to stabilize the ship, shaving some difficulty off again.
Oh, I like this plan better. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to really intentionally line up my shot and try and get set for. So I'm going to try and create an advantage carefully to take a really, really epic shot shortly.
All right.
So we'll see how that goes. So I'm just operating with a +3 right now from my careful.
Okay.
Oh, gosh. Okay, well, my total is a +1.
All right. This is going to be a pretty difficult shot. I mean, you're creating an advantage, and that is against. Yeah, this is going to be an extreme difficulty, so I would say that you needed at least a great result in order to aim. So you fell short by at least 4.
oof.
What happens then?
All right. Well, we've got a few choices here. You can, if you have any fate points left, you can look for aspects that already exist or that are just that obvious
Mhm.
to try and boost yourself up by the 4 that you need. Sorry, 5 that you need. The other thing is that even one aspect will allow you a reroll. And then the other thing is we could say that you accept a consequence, and then you could take the consequence's value in shifts. But it has to really match the situation, and that's going to be a tough sell.
Yeah.
So a minor consequence, maybe not so bad, but that's only 2 shifts.
Yeah.
And this may not be a situation where that works out so well.
What are your You have this. You're a sniper.
Sniper, trained clone warrior. I have the blind spot. Cassus points I shoot, which he's in there now, and he's the one who made it possible for this shot. So that's an aspect I can play. I only have the one fate point I can work with right now,
Oh.
but I feel like I need to do it, and that's going to bring me only to a 3.
What did you roll?
I rolled a -2, and I have a +3.
Oh, well, if you.
Oh, so you're only at a 1, not a -1.
Yeah, I'm at a 1.
So at a -2, it'd probably be worth going for the reroll rather than just giving you a +2 to your result.
Okay.
And hope you
I think
don't
we'll do that.
roll.
Cassius is
minus.
pointing, and so I am going to shoot.
Very metaphorically.
It is. It is. Oh, that was totally way better. Okay. My total is now a 6. I rolled a +3 on that, in addition to my 3. So now I have a 6.
All right, so you're creating or discovering a new aspect, and you have succeeded. So they are now in your sights, and you get 1 free invocation when your turn comes around again.
Hooray!
All right. So, Well, we could be a little loose with the initiative here. Who wants to go next?
The pilot.
All right. The
So
pilot steadies the ship. That is his action. So that epic shot just became superb. So it's a 5 or better to hit what you're aiming at. And then after that, I would have to say let's have the Jedi make a go of it.
I am going to step between the Trandoshan and Dent.
Okay. So you're going to defend him.
Mm-hmm.
You'll just make a defense roll if he doesn't attack.
Okay.
All right. Dent, what are you up to?
I am going to, for the first time in this whole scenario so far, pull out a gun. I almost forgot that I had one. That's a true story.
You
I
remember
am
the
going-
gauntlet knives, you forgot the gun.
Yeah, well, the gauntlet knives are cooler. Everyone's got a gun. I've got gauntlet knives. See, I don't want to shoot the. Well, then again, I don't want to shoot the pilot because he's driving. Maybe I could, but then I don't, and I don't want to shoot the Trandoshan that's right in front of me because he's spending all that time trying to get it in his sights. So, I'm trying to think if there's
Create
any way I could.
advantage.
Yeah, so if there's any way I could help him. But then I also don't want to waste his stepping in the way. Like, I don't want to be like, hey, I stepped in between you and the Trandoshan, and now I am in front of him on the Trandoshan. How could I create some sort of advantage? What's in this? What's in the crates? Are they open, or are they...
The crates are not opened. They are marked.
Oh,
You
even
have
better.
medical supplies. You see explosives. You see munitions, rather. You see medical supplies, you see munitions, and you see energy packs. So fuel, munitions, medicine.
So is there anything I could, like, throw in his face to sort of blind him, or...
Well, everything's kind of packaged.
Yeah,
But you could cut the straps that hold them down.
Can you build a rudimentary lathe? No.
I want to make a very small trebuchet and start flinging things. No.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
you're going to construct rudimentary gunpowder and fire a rock at him because he is, in fact, the Gorn. Getting
And
peanut
now
butter
we're-
in my chocolate.
Yeah, I was about to say, what? Stop Star Wars. Yeah, I'm gonna. How about we cut some straps and let a crate. Would it like bang into him? Would it just slide, or would I have to sort of give it a shove? You think?
Well, the everything's being held down by a net, but you can easily cut a few of the straps so that the crates will slide loose as the ship moves around. But
And
you're
that would-
creating a hazard that could potentially be turned against yourself, but the first time it happens, it's totally under your control because you know what you're slicing and you know which direction it's going to go.
That's true. Hey, why not? Seems doing something potentially hazardous to myself and my teammates seems to be a bit of a thing. So let's go with it. Let's cut some straps and let some crates loose. Create an advantage.
All right, so you're creating an advantage, which is loose cargo. You get one free invocation of it, but anybody can tag it, can use it after that.
Okay.
Or not even waiting for after that. They can use it anyway, but you get the free invocation that you could pass off if necessary.
And
And I think that brings us back to the guy who's shooting.
can I? Do I need to roll for that?
Yes, you do. I'm sorry. Clever.
Yeah, of course.
And what is your
Well, I've got
clever?
clever +1, and since I'm creating this to sort of aid in the shooting, could I possibly work my stunt into this?
Yeah, I
'Cause I'm
think
trying to-
so.
I'm trying to like
How
pass
do we
it
word
off
the stunt again?
to make his shot easier. I get a +2 when I cleverly create advantage for team members. So I'm going to do that and then pass off the free invocation to.
Long shot?
Long shot. Yeah, thank you. Long shot. I hadn't
Yep.
used your name in so long. Yeah, like that.
Yep, no problem.
Okay.
So you have a cleverness of 2, did you say?
That's 1, and then 2 for the stunt.
Alright, so your total is 1 because you got 2 neutral and 2 negatives.
Man,
Um,
there's them dice.
so without any additional things, you're not going to make it. But
I
that's
count on long shot. I have an aspect. Can I possibly work in I count on long shot into this somehow?
You can. Yeah, you're aware that he's capable of making this shot, and you're
And
definitely
that's-
being menaced.
Yeah, that's the whole. Like, I'm not defending myself. I'm not attacking my enemy. I'm just doing things to help him save me.
Alright. Alright, you create an advantage with 1 free invocation, which you hand off to long shot.
Okie doke.
Mm.
And I
Alright,
spend
spend your
another
point.
point.
And I think you're out too, right?
Well, that when I did that invocation on the off balance, was that my free invocation or did that cost 1? Because if
That
it
was your free one.
then I have 1 left.
Okay. Alright. I think that brings us over to the Transdotion, who will try and shoot the Jedi, because the Jedi's now in the way. He should know this is a bad idea, but what can you do? His base is 0.
Okay. Can
And
I
he's-
deflect with flashy?
Yes, you can.
Oh crap. I am at a 0.
That's better than -2.
Well,
You avoid getting hit by deflecting the shots. I would say without a stunt, you can't redirect them, but you
Mhm.
can deflect them.
Yeah.
Because that's totally a Jedi thing.
What were your stunts?
my stunts were basically +2 to defend against blaster fire by being flashy, and when using force to attack someone forcefully, move someone one zone.
Right. Okay. Sorry, I just couldn't remember.
Cool.
Which I was
All right.
totally going to use to save you from falling off that cliff if it had come to it.
Thank you.
Oh, nice.
Oh, you were gonna forcefully attack me with the force.
I was going to forcefully juggle you with the force.
I like it.
Alright, so now, Joe, moment of truth.
Oh man. Okay. I'm gonna line
Alright,
my
the
careful
base
shot up.
difficulty is a 5.
Mhm. That's
You
my
have-
base using my stunt and my careful approach.
And
Right.
But I have two free
Invocations.
invocations, so I've got an additional +4. So right now I am at a 9
Alright.
before dice hit the table.
Basically, all you have to do is not roll 4 negatives.
Great, you said it. You said it.
Now you
now-
said it.
no, let me jinx it further. What's the worst that could happen?
Oh, I have a very bad feeling about this.
I feel like that's my new aspect. What's the worst that could? Can I just add those in, like in the middle of the game?
Yeah, sure, why not?
What's the worst that could happen? I like it.
0.
Catchphrases are
No
a good
change. So 9 is my
change.
total. I got a
So-
2 neutrals, a plus and a minus, so 9 is my total.
thing. You have succeeded with style. You may deal 4 shifts of damage, or you may deal 3 and create a boost.
Trying to think of how tough I think a Trandoshan is. Trandoshans are pretty tough. You know, I'm
Kill
just
'em.
gonna go for all 4 straight into the dude. Boom. Headshot.
Okay.
Oh.
Headshot. The Transdotion drops.
Yay!
His blood slicks the floor and lets him slide effortlessly out the door.
I'll be right back.
Okay, you killed him and you disposed of him. That's just handy.
Yeah, that's what I do.
All right.
That's awesome.
That's the best.
That's not a way to get ahead in life.
Yeah!
I don't know if I should dignify that.
The pilot banks and tries to throw everybody inside out the open door.
Oh, jeez.
He is good at piloting, and he's got a point that he's going to use for the open door as an aspect, and he's got a point that he's going to use the loose cargo as an aspect.
You're welcome. Again.
What's the worst that could happen?
Hey, that's why I wrote it down. It seemed appropriate.
That's a good one.
Yeah, I like that.
And he has a
I'm not
6,
seeming.
7. That is an epic effort to throw you guys out the side of the
Oh
bus.
my
Was that?
gosh!
Is he like? Was that count as attacking us, or is he like creating an advantage?
I
People flying
think
through the air.
I think that that is an attack because you're definitely going to take damage if you fall out.
Yeah, and he seems like he got a boost. So, unless, oh, we can defend, right?
Here's what
Yes.
I'm thinking I might actually do. Because I might have just enough time to slow myself from hitting the ground hard. Instead of trying to react to keep myself in the ship, I'm going to try to react to keep Dent in the ship. By basically, like, being thrown out of the ship, I'm going to use the force push to push him back into that zone.
All right. Well, I'll give you two things here. First, he's on the other side of the loose cargo, so he's not going to actually be impeded by the cargo.
Uh-huh.
The epic result is actually only superb against him. You're the only person that would have gotten hit by the cargo. We'll
Oh,
give you
okay.
that at the start. So you just have to roll to overcome that superb effort, that +5, in order to use the force to keep him in. And you get +2 on that because the um, you're using your stunt
Mm-hmm.
to add to it.
Okay.
The
So,
problem is
yeah.
that you can't do this and pull your punch. So you're going to deal damage to him unless you cut it really fine.
Okay.
Unless you succeed with style.
Uh,
Oh, I don't like the
gotta
look.
More like dancing the line. The closer he is to 5, the better.
Oh, okay.
all right. Forceful is 2, +2 from that. Come on. 2 minuses, 2 pluses. I am still at 4.
Right. So all you need is 1 point,
Oh,
and if you have an aspect that you can bring in here, it'll give you 2.
okay.
I'd say
Actually, my trouble might actually keep him from being damaged. Maybe. All sizzle, no steak?
Um. Well, that kind of implies that you're
Right.
supposed to be ineffective.
Right. Really
Yeah,
don't have anything
So,
else
like,
I
all
can...
the crates fly into splinters, but nothing actually does anything.
Right. Can't really think of anything other than Jedi Knight. I can't really think of anything else I could possibly.
well, what about
But that's fine. That's your high concept, and this is a very Jedi thing to do.
Okay, I will
yeah,
do Jedi Knight and spend that last point.
it's very selfless of you.
All right. So that's going to make it a 6, which beats 5 by 1. So Dent is going to get dented. He's going to take 1 shift of stress. I've been saying damage, but they call it stress.
Mm-hmm.
You can check off your 1 stress box, or you can accept a minor consequence and just tell me what happens that's bad for you, but will go away at the end of the scene.
Well, mild consequences are worth 2,
2.
and doesn't stress go away at the end of a scene too? So
Yeah.
why
So
not?
you just may as well check the box.
I'll just take the 1 point of stress. Yeah, I'll just do that one.
Just
The one,
keeping it out there that the consequences are an option.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, no, I know. Thanks. I just rather save those since it's worth more points. So I'll take that 1 bit of stress.
Okay. All right. So damage for, I think it's only 1 zone. So I'm going to say it's a fair amount of damage. So you're going to take 2 shifts of stress for falling.
Okay.
So you have 3 boxes. One's worth 1, one's worth 2, and one's worth 3. So you could check off the box that's worth 2, or you could take a minor condition.
I'll take the minor condition.
Okay. So that doubles as an aspect that
Mhm.
can be compelled against you if necessary.
Okay.
But you get to choose an aspect that is appropriate to the situation and would reasonably go away at the end of the scene.
like pulled shoulder blade or something like that?
Yeah, sure. That's fine. You landed badly and you pulled something.
Yeah, pulled something
Alright.
works.
Pulled something.
Ah! Threw your back out.
Yeah, it's just
All right.
something. You don't have time to figure it out. You're in combat.
Ain't got time to bleed.
That sounds like an aspect waiting to happen.
Yeah, it does.
All right. So once again, we're down to just Dent in the ship, but there's one guy who's the pilot, and I don't know, guys. How do you want to proceed here?
Is he paying attention to us?
Well, he's paying
Like-
attention in the sense that he wants to know how successful he was at pushing everybody out the door.
Okay, so he knows that I'm still inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
He sees the spectacular. It's like Uncle Phil threw Jazzy Jeff out the front door, except you're coming in. Ah!
That's a good mental image. Well, what do you guys think? Do you want me to just try to kill him and put this thing down, or does anyone have any better ideas than me just trying to stab him?
You might threaten him to tell him to put it down.
I don't know.
That's good.
He's a big lizard.
Do you have a garrote, perhaps, in your infiltration gear? I know we fight droids normally, but
Why, yes, I think I do.
I'm just picturing if you could get him in a position, and then you're like, land.
That's true.
That
Good.
works.
It might even come out of my gauntlet.
Man,
It might.
I feel like your gauntlet needs to be an aspect.
Yeah, I feel like by the end of the session, it's going to be like a Swiss Army gauntlet.
But
Yeah.
you can do that. So what you can do is you can either make an attack that inflicts damage, or this sounds more like create advantage to me. So you'd be putting him in a position to make an offer that he can't refuse.
Yeah. Let me think.
In fact, the advantage could be an offer he can't refuse.
That's true. I like that. Yeah, and then I could like use if he did try to pilot away, I could like invoke it and be like, nope. Okay, yeah, let's do that. Let's create advantage, and clean my glasses and roll some dice. What do you think? This seems forceful.
Yeah, I think so. And his defense against this is going to be neutral. This is a race that's very used to intimidating through force.
Mhm.
On the other hand, you have a really good
Position.
advantage over him in position and all that. So I think that his neutral thing would be better than a good for two. What was your thing?
+2.
You are now at 3, and he has 2, up from 0. So you win. You've put him in a position where he can't refuse, and you have a free invocation of that. And in the interest of time, I'm going to say that you pretty much got this one in the bag, and you force him to land. You guys have captured your transport.
Hooray!
It is 9:40. We have gone in a completely different direction than what I anticipated, but that's totally cool because I think that we covered a wide variety of actions and the ways things can be handled here.
Yeah, so as far as if anyone's watching to learn how to play Fate, I think we covered quite a few things.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty much mission accomplished at this point. You still have opposition on the ground, but at this point the Jedi just hops back in, you take off. As long as you got the Garrett around his neck, maneuvering around is pretty simple, and you guys have made it off-planet. You still have a prisoner, but you can make it off-planet intact as you are, and there may even still be a few useful supplies around the ship.
That's true.
And plus you actually have a trained pilot.
Just curious. I know we use that as create advantage, but could that have also been like I know it doesn't matter, but an overcome action? Like, I guess not the overcoming.
I think it's a narrative perspective. If he had a will, let's say, if you're overcoming his will to resist you, I think it's just a narrative perspective.
Yeah.
The same way
I
as
understand.
you created an advantage and that had a rating, and maybe he could have treated that advantage as an obstacle
To overcome
for the
it. Yeah.
purposes of trying to break free. Uh, or it would be just a straight opposed roll at that point because you're trying to maintain your advantage. There's a
Mhm.
couple of different ways that you could approach it. I think that Fate, Fate probably a little more so than other stuff, but very much like Marvel heroic role playing, there's really no wrong way to go about it. It's just the terms are there to help you frame the roll, the
Yeah.
check, and then after that you can, one man's advantage is another man's obstacles, another man's stunt is another trait, and you can use them interchangeably. All it does is define how that is being used in this particular exchange.
Yeah. Since I've never played before, I was just curious how that, if anyone thought about how that, or had thoughts about how
Uh,
that worked.
I'm deliberately bringing in how I ran Marvel in that particular interpretation. So
Hmm.
other groups probably it's more ruling than it is rules. If you want to compare like new D&D to old D&D,
Oh no, I dig that.
it yeah. So um, it's getting near 10 o'clock. So I wanted to ask you guys how you felt about the session and what you liked or didn't like or the things that stood out. And since Dustin seems to have the strongest opinion of Fate prior to coming in here,
You've restored my faith in the dice. I also like to say thank you for running the game for us tonight.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks.
I really liked, tying everyone's kind of advantages together. That we've got kind of that circular thing going where we can rely on each other. I really liked that aspect of it.
and I think that if we had more time to play or if we were going to do an ongoing thing, that
Hmm.
we could actually do, pick or refine our aspects a little bit better to make it work for the type of gameplay that we'd like to see.
Yeah, I was gonna say like that what's the worst that could happen thing, and I was thinking while we were playing, like I seem to be counting on everyone else to sort of defend me, so I could like shift my thing from I count on long shot to maybe the whole thing, or maybe it would move back and forth, because when you get milestones, you can adjust some of your aspects, and as the story changes, maybe my character adjusts who he counts on most, and it might even ping pong back and forth. Like just that whole thing, the way you can just change with the story seems like a really cool thing to me.
Hey, Joe, you have anything to add here?
I mean, I felt awesome. And like that's when a game system can set you up to do awesome things. That's super fun. And so like being able to string kind of bonuses together, like because as much as that's very metagamey and thinking about stuff like that. It's constructing how you're achieving a task, and so
Hmm.
the system did it really well in terms of like, oh, I'll set myself up, and it kind of simulates that really well, and so it was easy to feel like, okay, I'm getting ready for something, and then to go from there, and the aspects were cool. I think I would have, and like you said, if we'd had more time to think things out, I think I would have made my trouble a little easier to like poke out there, because it felt like I was like stretching to like try and get fate points, because I was like, I'm using a lot of these, I don't know what I'm gonna do, and like I'm gonna be in trouble. Which fortunately I got a whole bunch of free invokes at the end to pull off the shot, but like that's the one thing I was like, if the compel was, and I could almost see you having like more than one kind of thing.
Well, you can
Well,
compel any of your aspects, right?
yeah, as long as
I
it
guess that's
fits the
true.
narrative, you can do that.
Huh.
Um,
I got stuck thinking my trouble was the only one I could do that with, and I was like, well,
Yeah, I did that at first, and I was like, well, maybe I could try this I count on long shot thing, but it didn't come up. So
the other thing is, the trouble is the only one that's specifically designed to be more trouble than it might be worth.
Mhm.
So it guarantees that you have at least one aspect that can be invoked for a problem because it's supposed to be that broad.
Yeah.
Whereas other things, you probably pick them because they were going to be good for you, but the best ones are double-edged, and so it
Mhm.
can be used one way or the other.
Yeah.
And that requires some input on my part too, because if I'm building the campaign more, taking more elements from your characters, then I can, instead of just working off a general backdrop, then I could really take some of that stuff in, like if you had a twin sister that nobody knew about, and really work that back in as something that'll come up. But also, I feel that because I've played with you before, because we played Marvel, which is what I think got me to really understand Fate, is that this game really lets you be a different type of awesome than when you were playing Colossus.
Yeah.
And I think that when you came off with that epic shot, it wasn't just that says epic on the ladder. The situation helped it make it feel epic. I think the way that we framed it made it feel epic.
Mm-hmm.
And I really like how that cornerstone of Fate, where characters are proactive and competent, really seemed to play out through this. Even when we let things get a little ridiculous by, doing the Legolas and surfing the broken droid down.
That was awesome.
It was.
Yeah, I like how even though we were all like, I was in a ship and he was over there and he was knocking a tree down and on the outside of the ship, the whole time all of us felt, really, as far as I could tell, felt like we were contributing. It wasn't like, oh, now it's time to let the guy with the sword swing it around, and is it time for me to do my thing yet? It was like every single time.
It's not the Shadowrun. Everyone has a mini game.
Hey, I like Shadowrun.
Shadowrun's great, but previous editions of the game were, now it's the hacker's turn.
Yeah.
Yeah, well...
Now it's the mage's turn.
I think you can have a little bit of that element here, but because you can only take one action on your turn, it's kept down to a very reasonable amount of time.
Yeah.
And I let things go a little bit because Jedi are supposed to be ridiculous that way. So that's the permission that you got from your aspect, and it all works on that shared understanding. I want to thank you guys because this is definitely not a game that I would try initially with just anyone. I wanted to have experienced role players that weren't just hack and slash players, because the level of interaction that you guys had, all of you being DMs in your own right as well, really helped feed into and make the system work, because you're used to doing that for other players when you run a game, and then when you start feeding off each other and doing it for yourselves as players, I think that that's really what put the gas in the tank on this one. And that cooperation really is what made, for me, the session a success. I could sit here and just let you play it out and just educate it and not have to really generate much of anything on my own. And that's an experience for me, to be a lazy DM and not be running to catch up all the time and throwing in elements. So that's I think I call this a win all around, and I really want to thank you guys for being a part of that.
Thanks tons for running and inviting me, because I was out of the blue.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate it. I haven't actually played in years, so this is the first game I've played in a very long time.
Good.
I enjoyed it. I had a good time, and I again want to thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I'm glad that you. It's always Joe was a shoe-in because we've played together before, but to have two people who I only interact with as acquaintances on Twitter, and then have you guys say, yeah, you know what, that sounds cool, and I want to jump in. That says something, and I was really happy to oblige. So anytime, except I really don't have much for the rest of the summer. So
I hear that.
Yeah, I'm kind of just. It's kind of just sad that this is a one-shot because it was going so well.
Yeah.
I'm going to end the broadcast. We can still hang out for a few minutes, but I think we hit the useful level, and I don't want to.
Now we're just going to sit here and pat each other's backs for a while. So.
Yeah.
Now
possibly,
concludes the Fate portion of our broadcast.
Yeah.